In all of life, there's a rhythm. All things live by the rules of this frequency. Our hearts beat as one. Like a drum set to a timer that always seems to end too soon. The rhythm. Life, there's a rhythm. All things live by the rules of this frequency. Our hearts beat as one. Like a drum set to a timer that always seems to end too soon. Our hearts beat as one. The rhythm. The rhythm.
harsh transition. Rusty out here. Good morning, everyone. Hope you guys doing well. It's good to be back. Probably start off the stream by telling you guys why I haven't been public streaming in a bit. We'll do the Bitcoin overview, where I'm leaning, what the plans are, what the trades look like. We'll do some intra-week stuff. And as always, we'll do some Q&A. Since it's the first stream back, honestly, I don't give a shit. Ask whatever you guys want, whenever you want. And we'll get to everyone. You're still sharing the intro? Don't worry, don't worry. I was planning on swapping over, man. Don't worry, don't worry. Good looks, though. Let me scroll up in chat. I didn't read everything while I was doing the intro. Yeah, Nelly, I did see your message yesterday. I don't know why YouTube deleted it. I was just trying to make sure that the stream schedule was live, and I saw you commented in there. Good morning, everyone. Nice to see you guys. I missed you all. Forgot how hard the intro goes. Yeah, shout out my boy. I dropped his Twitter handle in the bio if you want to check him out, man. Congrats on the house. Thank you, Jamie. Thank you, thank you. Yeah, we doing a little upgrade. Doing a little upgrading, man. Who says you can't do it in the bear market? Do not fuck up the window capturing. Brother, I will several times, so lock in. That's part of the doc stream experience, man. You will see me fumbling the left monitor and right monitor several times. You're gonna instantly spam me with requests? Can you review some of my trades? I'd love to, man. Do you mind if we hold up for a little bit? I'll definitely do it, though. Okay, so maybe we start off with a short yap. Why did I take a break from public streaming? Public streaming, or streaming in general, is something I'd been doing for 3 years, maybe? I don't know the exact time that I started, but started off to an audience of 3 people. And those are just homies in the clinic from back in the day. I just wanted to go through some, go through the watch list on Sundays, and I would go through everything. And yeah, it was a nice experience to see, myself do things live. Hey, this is the chart. What do I think? Is there a trade here? Where would I trade? Let me mark out some levels. Let me set some alerts and then move on to the next coin. That was back when I used to trade altcoins and not Bitcoin. And it kind of evolved, right? As the account grew and stuff like that, it just became a ritual. Every Monday we do a public stream. And I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I got pretty burnt out of the whole social media experience last year. Top to bottom, Twitter, streams, everything. I just wasn't having fun with it anymore. And it evolved from an experience of me trying to help myself and hold myself accountable for my ideas publicly to just... I didn't realize the background music was so loud, guys. I'm sorry. First fumble of the day. Turn that all the way down. Yeah, it turned from that to just a ritual thing that I'm supposed to do, right? And I lost the joy of it. And I think in life, we're all blessed to do things, or like we'll be blessed if we can find things that are productive that we also enjoy, right? And when you lose some of that joy, and it starts feeling like a job. It's just something I do. I don't think that's fun for me, and it probably translates to not being fun for you guys either. So just wanted to take a little break and remember why I love doing this, right? And I think I said it on Twitter a week or two, maybe 3 weeks ago or something, like I plan on bringing it back. It didn't feel right. And then over this past weekend was the first time that I was like, you know what? I kind of feel like doing the stream. And here we are. So we'll have a good one. We'll cover everything as normal. Should we start off with Bitcoin? Preserve yourself with Paragon. That's respectful and smart. Channeling that energy into the important thing. Yeah, so there's another thing, guys. you guys all know that I used to be more of a medium time frame trader and trading altcoins and positional trading and spot trading and stuff like that. And that changed hardcore pretty much the start of 2025, right? 2024 summer was like the learning experience of trading 1 minute charts in intraday. 2025 was like, okay, this is what I do now, right? This is the new way that I trade. This is how I trade. And in that process, New York session is so valuable, right? That's the highest volatility, cleanest flows. And Mondays, my stream time was during New York session, right? So streaming in Paragon on Wednesdays, streaming on, public stream on Mondays, all this is taking time from my own, taking time away from my own trades. So that was part of the process too. I was like, you know what, I'm streaming publicly, but I'm maybe miss a trade here or there. And I don't really, I don't really want to do that. I want to just lock in, because I look at 2026 the same way I looked at 2022, right? 2022 was kind of my foundation building year and growth year. And my mission statement for that time was, dude, lock in now, because other people aren't, right? And it doesn't matter, if you're want to be a trader or you want to try to find the bottom on the entire market or whatever it may be, or airdrop farm. Like, this is the time when no one else is paying attention. And I think 2026 is a lot like that too, right? This year is slower. And you can develop a big advantage over other people by just being, outworking them in a moment where they don't want to put in the effort. So, for me, 2026 is like a growth year, right? And it's like, how hard can I push myself? And my biggest thing with my trading right now is, can I push size? Can I push more size? Can I push more size? That's been kind of like my mission statement for years now. And I've been a lot more comfortable doing so. My size scaling is slow and steady. I'm not jumping from 1 Bitcoin long to 10 Bitcoin long to 100 Bitcoin long. Like, we're going slow and steady, but it feels comfy. What EMAs do you use? We got to get it out of the way, huh? Happy to have you back. Thank you, Codes. All right, brothers, let's talk about Bitcoin. So if any Paragon homies are in here, they're going to be rolling their eyes. They've heard me talking about this 2 or 3 times the past week, but you guys haven't, right? Maybe I've tweeted it once or twice, but I haven't really locked in on Twitter in a long time. You guys look at my tweet volume. It's like maybe 1 tweet a day versus 5 or 10 from back in the day. Like I told you guys, I got burnt out on the whole experience. So maybe I'll start tweeting more, but I don't know. Maybe not. We'll see. All right. So what I've done here is kind of tabulate into 2 columns. Bearish takes and bullish takes, right? And I want to try to strongman both of these arguments, because we're coming up into an inflection point, in my opinion, right? I don't want to keep you guys in suspense. I think the bearish argument is a little bit stronger than the bullish argument as we get into 78, 80K or anything like that, right? So let's start. Number 1, the CME weekly trend. Last time I was streaming, I was talking to you guys a lot about this, right? The last final stand, right? If we talk about my 2025 kind of bias, outlook, trading, whatever, I took one very strong bullish stand, and that was around the tariff lows, right? That was my one very strong bullish stand of the entire year. My bias was, hey, Bitcoin will probably range longer. I didn't expect all-time highs in May, June, or whatever. I didn't expect us to be that strong. But regardless, we talked about the high time frame momentum loss. We talked about the drives getting weaker. We talked about how far we up on the lows and how much harder it is to develop a giga bullish stance at 115K versus 30K, right? It's tougher and tougher to be that giga bull at the highs, even though the trend is trending. The last kind of long biased, giga long biased trend trade that I took was off of the CME weekly trend, 365-day rolling yearly VWAP, all the way back in, I think, November, right? When that broke, I said to you guys, I can no longer make a high time frame bullish argument. You guys can see how that's played out, right? We hedged out, I think, late January towards those highs. I didn't do a perfect hedge on my part, but it was pretty damn good, right? And down at these lows, we again just called for a range, right? Now we've ranged here for 2 months. We're finally getting a really nice bullish bounce. This is off the back of news absorption. If you guys are familiar with my trading over the past few years, you know how many times I've used news absorption to my advantage. This is when in February we got a very strong news catalyst, which is war escalation on a Saturday, which didn't breach new lows, which rotated and held back into value, and that provided us several good months of upside opportunities on Bitcoin, altcoins, whatever, right? So the inflection point, we're back towards the CME weekly trend. This weekly trend is pretty damn fat, right? The bottom end of it, the daily 100 EMA is around 79K. The top end is around 84K, right? That's your generalized region, okay? So coming into this, I think the strongest idea is to bet with the trend. I'm not going to say that we're going to 20K, but I'm saying that a trend is a trend until a trend ends. Even if this is the bottom end of a trend, we're still probably going to need a little bit of rounding on high time frame, right? I think betting on a V-shaped recovery to new all-time highs here is probably the lowest EV bet. It's a bet you can certainly take, but in my opinion, it's a lower EV bet, okay? The next thing is 30% corrections. I think I was one of the strongest vocal advocates in this past bull market talking about decreasing volatility, right? I don't know how many times I tweeted whenever we were down 20% on Bitcoin, high to low. I would always tweet, hey, the last correction in this time was 20%. The last correction was 20%. And I would tabulate all the corrections, saying basically we're probably at the bottom end of our correction, right? I think I have this on one of the charts still, hopefully. Not this one. This one, right? Bunch of 20% corrections during our bull market, right? Showing that downside is pretty limited in our trends nowadays, where Bitcoin was used to 40, 50% corrections in a bull market. Now it's 20 to 30, right? If you take the swing high to the swing low of any of our consolidations, you'll get a bigger number. Here we get 33, right? If you want to take every single one of these mini drives, they're all about 20% before we get some recovery, right? Again, right here, really nice big bounce on the Trump altcoin, or the Trump something weekend. He announced SBR or something like that, right? If you take the ultimate high to the low, it becomes like 30%, right? So we are now in that type of scenario. If you take the low to the high, right, we've hit 30%. If you take the local swing from here, we're around 20%, right? That's kind of a pretty strong counter trend rally in any type of high time frame trend, okay? So that's number 2. Let's go back to the CME chart. Let me regather my notes. Number 3, 2024 yearly values, right? We'll move over to the VWAP scan. Okay, so who remembers last year when we were making the bullish argument down at the tariff lows, how I was saying this is going to be the projected range lows, and it coincides with the 2024 yearly value area high, right? I hope a couple of you guys at least remember me making that argument back then, right? You guys can see how beautifully this has been respected, right? I think I'm on the Coinbase chart, Binance chart. They're pretty similar, right? This one just has my doodles on them. We're coming back in towards the 2024 value area high, right? We've dropped back in old value. This would be the high likelihood, high time frame area of resistance, right? And we got that reaction over the weekend. Bitcoin down, 5% from the highs, from the swing high on Friday to I think this morning's low, or maybe Sunday morning's low, right? The natural idea would be that Bitcoin develops a longer standing range here, right? We had a 2-month range back in Q1, Q4, Q1. We're at 2 months or a little bit longer now. I think the likelihood that this range lasts a little bit longer rather than just 2 months is pretty likely. But again, right back towards that 2024 value area high, which in my opinion should be treated as resistance unless you get really strong, solid spot flow above it, okay? Get flashbang nerds. And number 4, this one is no longer relevant. This is what I talked to Paragon about on Friday. I took a short on Friday, and this was involving the open interest, right? So maybe I'll just zoom out here and show you guys how much open interest mooned on Friday. Like we put on 10% global open interest intraday, right? That's a huge elevation of open interest. I know I'm on the CME chart right now, but probably go over to a different chart to make it a little bit cleaner. There you go. Right, huge elevation in open interest on Friday. A lot of effort coming into in my opinion, pretty confluent region of high time frame resistance, right? When you have that much effort coming in, all it takes is for the faucet to turn off. The faucet turning off can be whatever the driver of force is on Friday, whether it's perp positioning, spot longing, Binance flows, whatever. When that faucet turns off, a lot of this positioning can unwind if they start going underwater, right? And that's exactly what happened over the weekend, right? So this is what I kind of displayed to Paragon on Friday when I did take that short, right? So that's pretty much going to do it for the bear case. Let's strongman the bull case now, right? No objective analysis would be complete without covering the other end, right? The main one for me is going to be the quarterly value, right? This is the one thing that I've kept up with you guys on CT on Twitter, was the quarterly value, right? This has been goated for me in my trading in 2026 so far, right? Look at the clean rejections that we had over the quarterly value area low early in the range development. Look how we started rotating back into quarterly value after that big FUD weekend that we had at the end of February where the war started escalating, right? Big rotation back into value, held within value, rejected very cleanly off the quarterly VWAP, still holding in value. I said to open up to Q2, guys, my bias is going to be simple. If we get rewarded effort, what that means is a lot of selling that gets rewarded down here, we have to look for downside continuation. As long as the quarterly one value area low continues holding, we have to aim back up, right? So where are we right now? We're sitting pretty much at equal value. We're sitting at the median of Q1, right? We're sitting in a premium by a little bit, right? 100% this can open up the idea for a quarterly value area high tag. And given how clean this has been, and given how well this has been respected by the market, I think it would be negligent to not at least entertain the idea of 84K, right? 84K would be the bullish target. I think that's a very strong bear market rally. I think from February capitulation lows to 84K would be about a 40% rally, which is why to me, and this is bias speaking, and this is maybe discretion speaking, I think that's a pretty ambitious target, right? I said on CT maybe a week ago, 2 weeks ago, I would be happy with 78 to 80K, right? I think the 84K is a bit ambitious, but just simply on a VWAP basis, given how well this has been respected, given how we're in trading or how we're trading back into the premiums of VWAP now, I think the target for 84K is definitely on the table. And now that brings us to the point. The rally that we have been on right now has been supported by two main trends. Trend number one would be your 4-hour trend on the CME chart, right? Immaculate respect for the 4-hour trend. You guys understand that the CME closes on the weekend. When we get those big downside corrections, the 4-hour trend is not moving up with price. It's kind of being stable. When the CME opens on Sunday and price gaps down, it is still within the 4-hour trend. Look at how we've respected this. I think immaculate respect for the 4-hour trend should give us respect for the 4-hour trend. If you don't want to use a CME chart, you can use our Bitcoin native charts and just focus on the 12-hour, right? The 12-hour trend, incredibly gorgeous, respected both ways. Once again, halted downside this morning, right at the 12-hour trend. So when a trend is carrying you, you can take the low IQ left curve approach and just say, I am going to continue betting at the trend until the trend ends, right? And this has provided a lot of buy the dip opportunities over the past few weeks, right? When this trend fails, it's probably going to unwind in a big manner and clean up a lot of these CMEs that we've left behind. We have 4 that we have left behind along the current rally, right? We do have 1 above us right now, and we have 4 below us. So as long as the trend holds, you can continue betting on upside targets. The ultimate upside target, in my opinion, would be 84K. I do think that's a little bit ambitious, but you can't just throw it away and say there's zero chance of it because the VWAPs have been respected, right? That's pretty much going to do it for this. So TLDR, the way that I see it, I think we're in bear territory, right? I think given the fact that we're in a high time frame downturn, given the fact the way the CME weekly trend has been respected cycle over cycle, we simply want to respect that. Given the 2024 values, we want to respect that. And I think there could be a little bit of a trap based on the Q1 values, okay? The other 2 kind of bullish points that I have are on a very macro basis, right? Number 1 would just be your clean monthly level, right? Let's do a different chart to make it a little bit cleaner. Probably already have a line drawn on here. There you go, right? Clean monthly levels, everything above 58K in 2021 cycle has been for selling. Everything below 58K since then has been for buying. I think that's a very clean monthly level, and I want to continue respecting that. So the way that I've kind of entertained this super high time frame idea is to convert all my perp profits and any profits that I had in crypto that has stayed on crypto rails from this past cycle, right? 90% of my money went out to to the bank in 2024, right? I was like, fuck you, crypto. I'm putting all this in the bank. This is all the way back in late 2024, early 2025. And whatever was remaining in crypto, I didn't really have a use for, right? I made one bullish expressive idea up here before 1010 on some altcoins that did not turn out too well for me. But outside of that, all of it has been just built from trading. Intraday Bitcoin trading, intraday Bitcoin trading, intraday Bitcoin trading. And that cash is just doing nothing. It's just collecting dust. So what I did on the February capitulation is just buy some Bitcoin spot. Nothing fancy, no hyper liquid, no altcoins, just bought Bitcoin spot. And ever since then, I've just been converting all of my Bitcoin perp trades on an intraday basis, which so far in 2026, I don't know, 200, 300 trades already And all of those profits have just gone to accumulating Bitcoin spot. I'm not calling the bottom. I'm not saying the bottom is in, but I do think that in hindsight, next time we're in a very nice high time frame uptrend, you will feel good about the buys at 60K, right? So the current average that I have, I think, is around 63 or 64K. And I'm going to continue adding to it, kind of price agnostically, month over month for the rest of the year. The rest of the cash that I want to bring into the market is more of a time-based argument. It's just, let's go sideways a little bit longer. Let me develop some confidence that we are putting in a macro bottom, and I'm ready to throw the rest of the cash back into the market. So your high time frame, super high time frame outlook is, I don't give a shit. I want to own Bitcoin. I said to myself last cycle at the top that I want to own Bitcoin. I want to own a lot of Bitcoin. I'm not going to express that idea at 110K, 115K, 120K. I'm just going to wait for a discount region that provides me good RR, right? And what that RR basically is I'm buying this asset. I don't think it's going to zero, and I think it's going to continue appreciating with risk assets over the next decade or 2 decades. I don't believe in the quantum FUD. I don't believe in any of the FUD. I'm ignoring it. I'm just being headstrong in this idea. If Bitcoin goes to zero, probably the entire cryptocurrency market's going to zero. I don't think that's going to happen. So this is just buy the FUD kind of opportunity, right? Buying the FUD is a phenomenal way to get exposure to the market when price is not reacting to it. So what do I mean by that? When you already have this long drawn out range and you're getting signals from the market, hey, war is escalating, we're invading, we're sending ground troops, we're doing this, we're doing that, and price says, fuck you, we're not even going to sweep this low, we're just going to trade back into value on a Saturday. When there's no liquidity in the markets, that's a place to express a bullish idea, right? If the market wants to be shit, if we get new FUD, whatever, and Bitcoin holds 60K, I don't give a shit. I just think it's a value buy, right? That's when you express those ideas and buy that FUD. So I think these things will turn out very well. In hindsight, I think, if I had to put it very simply in 2022 terms, I think buying 60K is probably like buying 25K, right? Probably, maybe it's not the bottom, maybe it is, but if you ask anyone that has a 25K Bitcoin average, how they felt at 120K, I bet you they're pretty happy, right? They probably had to deal with FTX and a lot of this other FUD, but it turned out pretty well. I think it's about the same thing right now, around 60K, right? Maybe not 75K, but 60K, anytime you're getting low 60s, I think it's a decent opportunity to pick up Bitcoin spot. Okay, that was a lot of yap. Are you guys still with me? Are we alive? Are we paying attention? Did you zone out and start doom scrolling Instagram on your phone while I was yapping? Let me know. Let me scroll up in chat, see if I missed anything. Dude, I don't know what that word means. Nice to hear your dulcet tones. I don't know what that means, dude. Doxing myself is dumb. Is the bot gone? I have no idea. I think the bot was exclamation point trend, not exclamation point EMA. Good morning, Charles. I simplified to 4-hour CME break, aiming for yearly value around 66K. Yeah, good plan, good plan. All good, yeah. Great yap, I'm dialed in. Yap more if you have to. I think that's the main thing, right? So we covered local plans. We covered kind of medium time frame plans. I covered high time frame plans, spot accumulation plans. The natural question that people are going to have for me is, Doc, do you think the cycle bottom's in? Where do you think the cycle bottom is in? Yada, yada. The most honest answer I can give you guys is I don't know, right? I think predicting is not a productive trait for a trader. I think predicting is very negative EV. I think you can have hunches and you can build confluence into a trade idea, and you can build, gather different pieces of evidence and piece them together and take a bet based on that, right? But you shouldn't try to predict, right? I don't really know. I think like if I had to strongman an argument and say the bottom is here, I would just say 2024 value area low 51K, right? But do I know if that's going to happen or not? I don't, right? We could just hold here. We could already, the bottom could already be in. And how will I tell you guys that I'm confident the bottom is in? We just start doing this, just go sideways. We don't have to break through the trend. We just continue going sideways, bring the EMAs down, flip them, right? And great. Like, let's just express those ideas then. There's 3 ways to buy a macro bottom. I think I covered this with you guys the last stream or one of the streams. I hope I did. If not, I hope it was in Cookbook, but we'll just go through it really quickly, right? You can express spot accumulation ideas in 3 ways on Bitcoin. Number 1 is you just buy the FUD, right? Every time there's a massive capitulation, you put 33% of your stack in, right? So, Luna happens. That was our big first FUD event last cycle. 33% of your stack. I'm stuttering a lot because I'm caffeinated as fuck today because my dog was sick last night and woke me up 4 times in the middle of the night to go outside. He's okay. Don't worry. I'm not, saying he's like super sick, but he had the runs. So I didn't sleep well and I'm extra caffeinated. You could buy 33% of your stack on a Luna FUD, 33% of your stack on a 3AC FUD, 33% of your stack on an FTX FUD. What's your average cost basis going to be? I don't know, probably 25K, right? Call it 25K. You could wait for a sideways accumulation form. You could try to buy at range lows, as close to range lows as possible, right? Once you're confident, hey, we've been holding this price for 6 months, start stacking some chips. What would your cost basis be? Maybe 20K, right? You could wait for the trends to flip and buy in here. What would your cost basis be? 20K. It all amounts to something pretty similar, right? The idea that you're going to full stack your entire net worth after FTX at 16K is probably unreasonable. You're probably not going to do that. Even if you're trying to buy and say, hey, if this breaks down, I'm going to cut. You're going to probably be taking some L's and lowering a little bit of your capital base before you get in there. Once that happens, are you going to have the confidence to throw your entire net worth in? Probably not. So all 3 of these strategies are pretty viable, in my opinion. It just depends how you want to kind of allocate your capital to the market, right? If you told people last cycle we would bottom at 16K, no, I don't think anyone called 16K. There was 12K calls and there was a lot of like 20, 23K calls. We had like the 200 weekly EMA or something like that. That was around 23K. People called for 23K. People called for 12K. No one really called for 16K, right? I don't know what sentiment looks like right now. I don't really know what people are calling for, but that's just the way that I see it. Caught me doom scrolling on Reddit. I knew there was one of you. Inhaling Marlboro Reds, dude. I'm not gonna lie. When I used to drink, we're over 2 years sober now, but when I used to drink, bro, I loved a Marlboro Red after a few drinks. I ain't gonna lie. I was one of those I only smoke when I drink motherfuckers. What's your win rate these past 3 months? Probably 70%, 60, 70%, somewhere in there. My losses are pretty small. I think I posted... When was the last time? Nelly probably remembers more than me. When was the last time I posted a P&L curve? March or something? March was it? I think it was, no, it was February. It was February and March, something like that. It wasn't like clean month end, whatever it was. But like account was up 60 something percent that 30-day period. Win rate was probably 70%, something around there. I'm working on, here's the cringe word, vibe coding. A trade journal for myself and the Paragon students, where I'm trying to teach the journal my entire system, my triggers, my setups, the indicators that I use, the confluence that I use, and kind of tabulate it based on like a score of how many confluences you have, what was your trigger, what was your execution, how close to to your invalidation did you execute, and all of that. So I'm building that out right now, and that'll probably be where I get my stats from. Like it'll have the Bybit, or it already has the Bybit API access. There's some bugs with it. This is my first time doing anything like it, so I gotta iron some stuff out. Don't you think we need some big FUD like FTX before the bottom will be in? We can't predict that. Again, it comes back to what I said earlier. How do you predict? How can we predict that we're going to get an FTX type FUD? You can't. You can't, right? You can wait around for it forever and you could just say, hey, we never got anything, right? The trends have been flipped. I'm buying. That could be your strategy. If your strategy is, I'm going to wait for big FUD, like massive FUD to hit the market. And if it doesn't, I'll just wait for high time frame EMAs to flip. And I'll buy that. 365-day rolling, 200, day moving average, whatever the hell, trend system you want to use. Or you could say, hey, yearly VWAP has gone flat for about a year. We're no longer downtrending on the high time frame WAPs and buy based on that, right? There's a bunch of ways to recognize like high time frame momentum loss. So that could be your strategy. Why watching high time frame structure on the CME chart? Smart and big money there. It's something that I've been using for over a year now. I don't think I've shared the edge publicly, but I've used the CME gaps now for about a year. I've used the CME EMAs for about a year. I don't want to leak everything, but yeah, I've been a big advocate for the CME chart for the past year, and I think it's just simple, left curve thinking of, this is an institutional asset now, so maybe because a lot of our high volume is done now in New York session, and we're reverting a lot of weekend price action consistently. 2025, I believe the CME fill rate, I'll let you guys in a little secret, the CME fill rate in 2025 was 99.99%. The only one that didn't filled, I think, on January 5th, 2026. Unbelievable hit rate. 2025 was much more range bound. So you didn't have like a bunch of breakaway gaps or anything like that. We have a couple that we left behind in early January, around 80, 90K and stuff like that. The hit rate hasn't been as perfect so far this year. But yeah, my idea is I'm a New York session trader now. 90% of my executions happen during New York session. I'm not saying I don't trade after New York session or maybe the occasional Sunday and stuff like that, but I've developed more of a kind of like, let's respect institutional flow, let's respect New York session, let's look at confluences with ES on an intraday basis, let's pay attention to the CME chart and all of that. Poor Ollie, yeah, he's doing better, but he did not have a good night, man, yesterday. Reds after drinks is the best. Yeah, I agree. I heard Magus never loses even when wrong. Who is this guy? Who the fuck is that guy? Nelly, you've helped me a lot in the DMs in the past. Thank you for that. Yeah, Nelly's a real one. A couple of you guys, I mean, I think everyone knows Nelly now, which is super dope. But you know what's funny is if you guys go back in old public streams, you'll see Nelly in chat. Before he joined Paragon, March. Oh, am I getting this right, Nelly, or is it April? March or April of 2025. He's been with us for a year, and his growth has been phenomenal. Nelly has been, in my opinion, I don't want to compare him to myself because I think a lot of us have similar origin stories, but at least in the past year, I have not seen a single human being outwork this guy. This guy's online at trading 18 hours a day. He does our trade reviews, our stream reviews. He helps out in Paragon. You guys see it by his trading is evolved to where, we don't even feel comfortable calling him a student. We gave him a new role in Paragon called alumni. Dude's been crushing, and, it's just the classic hard work pays off, man. It's cool. It's cool that everyone knows Nelly now. Ave getting hacked isn't big enough of a FUD. Hey, man, I'm the wrong guy to ask. If you know anything about me, I'm not a macro enjoyer. I'm not a crypto news enjoyer. I'm just, let's trade the chart. Now, big things like war, of course, I'm going to pay attention to. Big things like the Fed, once in a while, I'm going to pay attention to. Tariffs, stuff like that, of course. USDC getting depegged last cycle. Those are the big things. Ave, I'm not sure, man. I was kind of maybe out of the loop over this weekend, and I'll get caught up. I don't really know what's happening with Ave. Some DeFi hacks. I probably saw the headline in a bunch of my group chats and ignored because every week there's a new DeFi hack, right? So I probably just grouped it in with the other 3 billion DeFi hacks that we've had the past few years. Thanks for the analysis, Doc. Are the rumors true that you learned all this from Nelly? Yes, Nelly, in fact, is responsible for both Magus and I's success. He taught us. If we don't fill the 67K gap this week, it'll have been left open longer than the Jackson Hole one. That's true. Astute observation, sir. I want to be like Nelly. I think it's funny, Mag always gives me this kind of, we have an inside joke of like, you'll see in 6 months kind of thing, like how everything in life is cyclical and we're all on our own journeys, and some people might just be a little bit further ahead, but they'll catch up with time, that whole thing. But I think there was a period, maybe 2 years ago or something, where Mag would say this stuff about me, like, oh yeah, Doc's been working hard, this and that, yada, yada. He joined Paragon, he's an analyst now, all this kind of stuff, the growth arc, right? And Nelly's kind of on that same thing right now. And I think Mag used to tell people, hey, you could be the next Doc, right? And now we can say you guys could be the next Nelly. When giveaway to enter Paragon? Isn't Nelly doing? Nelly's doing something like that, man. Ask him. I think he's doing a giveaway. But it's been good. It's good to be back. It's good to be back public streaming. We wonder how this turns out. Now, put system aside, put everything aside, and just, hey, Doc, what do you think? Right? This is where my gut's at. IMO, it's either we already put in a top for a bigger unwind, or we're probably going to 84. That's where my head is currently at. Obviously subject to change, but that's what I think. Doc, last week when OI is up, can you explain why negative funding didn't matter? Funding, in my opinion, hasn't mattered in a very long time. I think the funding edge is eroded a long time ago, and it's not something I even look at. If you look at my Velo charts and templates, I don't look at funding. You look at my MMT templates, I don't look at funding. I don't know what funding is, and I don't care. The edge that was once there with funding is no longer relevant. If you're, if you look at open interest exploding on Friday, I heard a lot of people saying, oh, it's all shorts, it's all shorts, it's all shorts because of funding. That's not true. It was pretty mixed. There was a lot of shorts, there was a lot of longs. I would say it was damn near 50-50 as far as positional opening. What I saw from, I think, not pre-New York Open, but I'd say New York Open onwards was about 4K contracts on the long side and 4K contracts on the short side. A lot of the shorts were opening via limit orders, right? So we had very thick limit asks that were filling, right? Very aggressive longs and some spot was lifting price and filling those asks. And they were just passively soaking and filling a lot of orders. There was definitely people market shorting too. I'm not saying that wasn't. Like, I market shorted, that count me into the list as well. But passive soaking and very aggressive long orders, right? So yeah, funding was negative, but who cares, right? Funding was positive at the lows as well. Who cares? Like, if you made the exact inverse and opposite argument, I saw a lot of longs opening into this wick. Does that mean, oh, we have to rinse the longs? No, it's like you're on the long home base. This is the long castle gates. These are the castle gates that we have defended, right? Longs are just defending their home. Shorts are just defending their home. They're supposed to win here, right? Just like the longs are supposed to win at the lows. How is your chart so clean? Is the white background not affecting you? I think over time, more and more people have started hating the white charts. Back in the day, the white charts were like what everyone loved. This is, in my opinion, my chart's messy right now. I try to keep it as clean as possible and like delete and hide everything. But yeah, it doesn't bother me at all, man. I mean, I don't sit in a dark room, right? My windows, or like the shades, are cracked open. I got sunlight coming in. It's not like I'm sitting in a dark room and blinding myself with white light. So it doesn't really affect me. I think they look clean. I was here. Think you guys should join Paragon if you want accelerated progress? Hey, he said it, not me. Boys, here's the thing with paid groups and everything like that. I think it is wise to be skeptical. Right? I think maybe 99% of them are just kind of schemes. I've had a good experience, right? My experience has been the opposite. The only two paid groups I ever joined was number 1, The Haven, and number 2, Paragon. I was in both of them as a student. And I think the advantage that you get is you have people to mentor you and help you in the process. You can 100%. This is a fact. You can 100% go without it. You don't need to join. You don't need a mentor. You can do it by yourself. There's enough free public education out there to get yourself educated, right? Maybe you're missing some edge and some nuance here and there. But with trial and error, you can dial all that in. You're super disciplined. You gather data. You journal your trades. You develop a long enough data analysis set, call it 3-month blocks. You do your quarterly review, you see what worked, you see what didn't, you move on to the next month, you prune what didn't work, you hyper focus on what worked, and you keep it going. And you say, okay, this one arrow that I have in my quiver is getting sharper and sharper and sharper and sharper. You will get there eventually, right? You will get to that side of profitability and develop a really strong system that works for you, right? And then it all becomes down, then trading all just becomes a discipline game. Can you stay disciplined to do what you know you're supposed to do again and again and again, not let variance affect you, and keep sending the trades and not fucking with your size and not screwing yourself up at entry, right? You have to develop enough discipline to execute your system again and again and again, while picking up nuance and discretion along the way. And discretion will help you to know, hey, this is a high EV setup for me, but I'm going to use my discretion at this exact moment because I know that this is not the environment to use this trade, like using an EMA system in a range-bound environment, right? That's discretion you pick up over time, right? If you're purely an EMA trader, you start fucking trend trading in a range. If you're purely a range-bound trader, you fade every SFP in a trending move, right? You learn this discretion through time. So you could do it, but the benefit of joining a fucking, tried and true group that only builds killers is you could probably do it a little bit faster, right? You could have someone that could help you through every single trade review and process, and you could see other people be like, wait, why did you take that trade? I saw a different read. What did I miss, right? Oh, wait, I thought, this was longs opening, but it was actually shorts. Hey, actually, I thought, the order book skewed was this way. I thought that we should be looking for longs today because low time frame momentum is up. Hey, I thought we should be looking for shorts because we're at resistance, right? Like, these are all common things that you just need enough reps to get through. So yeah, that's my, I guess, one shill for the day. It always feels dirty and weird to shill yourself. Right? It's a weird thing to do, but it is what it is. $134 people watching, 30 likes not adding up. We have 134 people in here? Wow. Thank you for the welcome home, gentlemen. I think the last public stream I did was like 70 people. I wasn't sure what to expect today. I wasn't sure if Twitter forgot about me or not, I haven't been tweeting much. I think the engagement has fallen off a cliff. The Twitter analytics, you can look at them. I think I looked at it a month ago or something like that, and it straight up fell off a cliff. But it's pretty lockstep with how much I've been tweeting. I've barely been on Twitter the past few months. Still a tweet here and there. Nelly, how can I learn to scalp with your system? He's got videos on it now. Nelly's got his own channels now. He's got videos. He's doing trade reviews. I 1000%, I'm assuming that 5 was a percent, need a mentor. Don't underestimate my stupidity. If you truly want to learn a skill, find a person that mastered it and you connect to, give him value, and he will teach you. He knows actual valuable things cost money. Yeah, I think the same way. Like, I came from a background of playing tennis, medicine, right? Medicine's funny because you could literally teach yourself medicine. You don't really need a mentor. The only reason you have to have med school is you need clinical practice. You need rotations. You need actual human beings to see. You can't just do everything in a textbook, but you can absolutely learn physiology and biochemistry and anatomy and everything through a textbook. You can teach yourself a lot, but you need the actual experience in clinical practice to become a doctor. You need to learn procedures. You need to see people. Tennis, I don't know how you're going to get good at any sport without playing with people better than you. Right? And whether that comes from, hey, I'm at the park and this guy's better than me. How do I get this guy to play with me? It's not worth his time to play with me, right? Because he doesn't want to play with someone significantly worse than him. But how do I convince him to play with me and teach me a thing or two, right? Or you hire a coach, right? Or you're lucky enough that someone in your family played and will give you enough of their time to teach you, right? Maybe hopefully your father or uncle or something like that, right? In any sport, you cannot progress by being the best player at your academy. You cannot progress by being the best player at the park. You have to continue to find people better than you to progress. And I think trading is a lot of the same thing. Obviously, you can do it by yourself, which is what I did for years. I became a profitable trader by myself. I didn't have a mentor. I hit profitability somewhere in late 2022. I didn't have a mentor back then. It was just me. But there's enough free education out there that helped me immensely, man. Hello, Charlie. Welcome back home. We gotta talk later, dude, after the stream. We got a big meeting later today. The Nelly glaze is strong. I love it. Doc, can I work for you? I can do any remote work. You know, DM me, and if something comes up, I'll let you know. I don't think I need anyone right now, but hey, if something comes up and you're available, I'll hit you up, man. Because of my lifestyle, I focus on intra-week swings mostly. I tried scalping for a quarter. It doesn't fit my lifestyle. Is Paragon worth joining a swing only trade? 100%. We do it all. I'm going to swing right now. God knows if the swing works out or not. But hey, I'm going to swing right now. Something I talked about for a few weeks coming in. You fancy a Herman Miller chair? If not, what do you got? I have a Razor something or another. It's green and black, like the Razor colors. I bought it in 2022 using money I got from the Crystal Vale airdrop. How many of you guys remember Jewel and DFK? When they poured it over to AVAX, I was like farming Jewel for the Crystal Vale airdrop, and they gave me like 450 bucks. It wasn't a life-changing airdrop or anything, but I cashed out immediately. And I said I needed a chair because I had a fucking Office Depot or something, Office Depot chair with fake leather that was peeling off everywhere every day. So I got myself a Razor chair, and the quality on this thing is unbelievable. Been sitting on it fucking at least 12 hours a day for 4 years, and it feels like it's brand new. That was the chair that I bought 4 years ago. I still use it. If it's not glazed, we recognize him for his achievements, 100%. How do you recognize leaks and fix them? Leaks are recognized through feedback, right? You need to be gathering data. So anywhere along your trading journey, you need 3-month blocks. I think that's the most efficient way to do it. You develop any type of trade plan or idea, whether you say, hey, I'm going to scalp, I'm going to swing, I'm going to trade Bitcoin, I'm going to trade this other asset, I'm going to use order flow, I'm going to use VWAPs, I'm going to use EMAs. You develop the rules of how you're going to trade, and you give yourself a 3-month data set, right? And after that 3 months, you go back and you need to review. You can review every day, you can review every week, but at the 3-month mark, that's when you have enough, in my opinion, data. You go through all your trades, you say, this is my win rate. These are the trades that I took on weekdays. These are the trades I took on weekends. This is the trades that I took on New York hours. These are the trades that I took using whatever trigger. This is the trade, whatever, right? And you categorize it, and you get a data set, and you say, these are my best trades, right? You hyper focus on those. You say the next 3-month data set, I'm going to prune everything that developed that you know wasn't that great for me. I'm going to focus on what the winners were. You only do that for 3 months. That 3-month set, now you have to go back and recognize, wait, how many of these were systematic error and how many of these were user error, right? This is when having someone look through your trades can be helpful, right? Because sometimes people don't know how to differentiate systematic error and being like, oh, you know, I took this trade when I thought the fucking weekly VWAP was downsloping, but you're taking a downsloping VWAP trade on a Tuesday when your developing VWAP has not developed enough, right? You don't have enough data to say that the weekly is downsloping after just a Monday, right? You need to wait a couple days, so you have to, then you can have someone tell you, hey, you know, you should have been focused on previous week's values, right? We closed within previous week's values. Let's use previous week's values, right? Leaks are basically, in my opinion, either going to be systematic and you using the wrong tools to identify a trade setup, or they're going to be user error, in which case you say, hey man, I wanted to take this trade today on, you know, daily value area low, right? Or whatever, right? And I just wait. I wanted to take this trade today. Why does that keep happening? Go to the 1-minute chart. Load. Thank you. Right? And you're like, look, you know, we have whatever, right? We close this week in value. I don't know if we are going to develop bullishly or bearishly or sideways to start off Monday this week. Let's wait and see. Okay, we look a little bullish. If I want to bet on bullishness into Tuesday, I need to mark out some levels for myself. And you say to yourself, okay, I just want to bet on the 1 day rolling or yesterday's VWAP or something like that. So I'll look for a dip into there to play a trend continuation, right? Somewhere in this region. That day comes on Tuesday, you miss your entry and you chase, right? You chase 200 points away from your ideal entry and you round trip into an L. You've taken a bigger L than you should have. That's user error. That's a leak. That's a lack of discipline. You journal that. You see how many of those after a 3-month span that you have done, and you see how much that it's affected your P&L curve. You'll recognize very quickly that you have only yourself to blame because you took a setup and you may have missed it because you were sleeping and you woke up the next morning and your trigger was missed and you took an entry anyways and you just fucked yourself up. You had to learn to accept that, hey, you missed it. If you don't have a backup plan, guess what? You're not allowed to trade today. If you do have a backup plan, look for your backup plan to set up, right? End of story. Crystal Vale. Yeah, man. Good times. Good times. That was fun. I think the two most fun things, we didn't really have anything like, I don't know, super fun, but one of the things that I was in that I enjoyed that went to zero anyways was Flog. I thought that was a good time. I thought the memes were good. I thought the vibes were good. I thought that it deserved to do better. It sucks that it came in too late into the cycle. Didn't have enough time to prosper. Are you interested in some alts right now in general? Not really. There's nothing. Okay, so obviously the answer is hyperliquid. Right? I don't have any hyperliquid exposure because El Bozo, I'm dumb, right? I don't have any hyperliquid exposure. This is obviously the winner. The market has chosen this to be the winner several times over, from last cycle to the April FUD Terra flows to this cycle to putting in new all-time highs consistently over Bitcoin. Let's find a chart and express this real quick. Right, consistently putting in new all-time highs against Bitcoin looks great, right? I have to develop a proper entry point invalidation, RR sizing for a trade into the next bull market on Hyperliquid. I don't have that yet. I don't have any exposure on that. If I look at other altcoins across the market, right, you know, I don't really know at this moment. This list that's on here, guys, is the same list that was on here 3 months ago. I literally given it zero thought. I was scanning this a few weeks ago and just going, oh, it does look like altcoin volatility is coming to the downside. Things are just going sideways, right? Right. If the worst coins in the market, like a fart coin that's down 95%, is no longer bleeding out and now just kind of going sideways, I think that's pretty bullish in a high time frame sense. Like a Pepe, meme coins that are down 90% just going sideways. Few runners like TRX, I was completely wrong on this one. I thought this, you know, losing a weekly trend would probably lead to a bigger downside, right? Big, long-standing weekly trend. I didn't even have the 365-day rolling on here, but I thought, you know, trading below this could lead to a bigger unwind given the circumstances of the broader market. I was wrong on this one. This thing looks really damn good. If you wanted exposure to this, probably bet at the weekly trend, right? Other coins just going sideways. A pump fund, right? Probably a decent narrative, buybacks, revenue, yada, yada, same kind of categories, Hyperliquid. Maybe in, I don't know if I want to rebuy Solana. I feel like I did the Solana thing already. We took Solana from sub $20. Oops. My original entries were $11 and $14 on Solana. And I compounded that to build my stack size, right? Compounded that by selling 20s, buying 13s, selling 28, and the what do you call it? XRP weekend or XRP rally day, rebuying, etc. Compounding this all the way up to $200, $300. I don't know if I want to pick up Solana again. So I personally have not gone down the rabbit hole of altcoin conviction. In fact, I'm probably talking about this like a boomer and you guys are like, Doc, why are you talking about these altcoins? There's like 50 better ones right now. Why are you not paying attention? Well, there's your answer. I'm just simply not paying attention. My goal in 2026 is to continue improving as an intraday Bitcoin trader, swing Bitcoin trader, continue pushing size on Bitcoin, because to me, so a lot of you guys, you know, crypto might be a hobby, crypto might be a side gig, crypto might be a part-time thing. You guys probably still have a real job or whatever, right? For me, this is full-time. And I have to focus on this idea that I am a full-time trader. I don't want to call it professional. This is my career, right? I have to have confidence in myself to make X amount of money per year, every year, till probably the day that I die or retire, right? There's 2 or 3 ways to make, or there's 2 ways to do it, right? Either develop a skill set that pays you year over year, that you're just so confident in that I can extract this much value every single day, no matter what, no matter how the market changes, no matter if we're trending, ranging, bull market, bear market, whatever, zero volatility like we had in December of last year, I can extract value from the market, right? That's the route that I've chosen to go. The other route that people go is just make so much fucking money that it doesn't even matter anymore. You make $20 million and you're good. You're set for life. You can just retire. I didn't have the capital set last cycle to even dream that big, right? I didn't want to try to turn fucking 4 figs or low 5 figs into $10 million. That wasn't even a goal for me. That was just, that was fantasy. This cycle, maybe I can dream that big. I'm not even, trying to put that kind of pressure on myself, but I don't even know if that kind of opportunity exists in crypto anymore. It probably doesn't even exist. So I've chosen to go the route of, let me make sure that I'm dialed in. And the way that I'm doing that now is not less so with like skill set of entry, execution, that's not what I'm focused on. It's more of just, can I push more size so that I can make more dollars per trade? That's it. That's the arc that I'm on this year. So I'm not hyper focused on altcoins. That's a long-winded yap to answer your question. I'm sorry about that, but that's the truth. How is using Footprint going? I think it is useful as far as me hyper focusing on where the positioning is coming from. Sometimes just looking at open interest alone and being like, oh, open interest went up, number go up, candle go up. Hey, that's longs opening. That's a very 2 IQ way of reading open interest. When you open up Footprint, you could say, oh yeah, price went up because someone on Coinbase bought a little bit of spot. That's how you see on Agger. And then you go on to your Footprint and you say, hey, there was a short passive limit order that filled at the top of the candle. So short open interest went up during that candle, where open interest can lie to you, or just like a trading view template, and Agger can lie to you, right? You can think the positioning is longs opening. You go into Footprint, you recognize actually that's shorts opening. So that's the big help that Footprint has given me, is just dialing in and not being lazy, and dialing in the actual execution that you're seeing on the charts. Will you continue using it or think it's just a little too... I've continued using it, right? So when I first started, I thought it was unnecessary, but I have found a use case for it, so I continue using it. It's not... I don't need it every single trade, by the way. It's just to clarify certain things for me occasionally. I also don't explicitly need it for execution. Like, I'm not looking at a Footprint candle and being like, oh my god, there's the mouse trap right there, and a bunch of people longed at the top of the candle and they're all trapped now, and now I can put a short and I can put my invalidation, as long as they stay underwater, I'm good. If they get back above water, I'm invalidated, right? I'm not using those kind of setups with Footprint. I'm more so just clarifying flow for myself. If I post equity trades, can you review them? Sure. Sold to zero? Could be. Everyone who's left here is a boomer now? Could be. I this past cycle, the 2021 or 2025 cycle, I don't know what year we call it. 2025 cycle, right? Even though I think that the real top was 2024. That's neither here nor there. I looked at that as my first cycle. Yeah, I was like a tourist back in 2020 and 2021, but this was like nothing to me. It was kind of like an afterthought. Like, especially in 2020, because like my main focus was medicine. The only reason I even got into markets is because of COVID, and I couldn't rejoin my school for my intern year. Prometric centers closed for my MLE exams, US MLE exams, and yeah, I just got into markets, but it was just like a hobby thing. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. 2021, I took it a little bit more seriously because I was just interested in it, but it wasn't like this whole, thing for me. Like, I didn't. You asked me to explain stuff and certain stuff in crypto, I wouldn't know. I just understood what Bitcoin was at a pretty high level, and that's about it. I understood what Ethereum was, but the 2022 onwards, 2021 top Pico top is where I got humbled, and took it personally and made it my life goal. I looked at 2022 to 2025 as like my first cycle. So we're entering my second cycle now. So I can no longer be looked at as a rookie and the newcomer. I am now a crypto boomer. Probably not a crypto OG still. I probably haven't been long enough, been around long enough to be called an OG, but definitely a crypto boomer. Let's hop over here. Let's see what's going on. One thing I was looking at earlier today was fading around 76.4. We didn't even have the juice to get there yet. 76.4 was previous week's value area high since we opened up this week right in the middle of value. It's been a lot of chop. I wanted to see a reaction around here to kind of fade, maybe for a intra-value rotation. I don't know if I'm going to be active. If this happens 3 hours from now, I don't know if I'm going to care enough to want to trade deep in the evening. I haven't taken a trade today. Pretty rare. I don't know when the last time I didn't trade on a Monday was, to be honest. Probably like go back and look at stuff in here, find out. Did I trade last Monday? That's Wednesday. Yeah, we got a trade on Monday last week. All right, boys. Any questions you have for me? Anything you guys want to review? Anything like that? The floor is yours for the rest of the stream. My girlfriend brought me food. I shouldn't eat on stream, though. I'll wait. I won't be a fat ass. You guys don't have to hear me chewing. This is unbelievable, man. It's just so funny. It's so funny to me. Like, I have no money in ES or anything like that, but actually, let's cover something else first. So I said to myself during this correction that I would buy Google around 250. And look at this. This is pain visualized. This is pain 2026 colorized for me, dude. I literally was just like, oh yeah, I'll throw my entire boomer report into Google at 250. Fuck you, Doc. Stay sidelined, El Bozo, dude. This one sucks, but yeah, I mean, I have a lot of stuff muted, guys. You know, I have the words Trump, tariff, Israel, Iran, Hormuz, or however you pronounce it. I have all that stuff muted. I don't pay attention to any of this stuff after a certain point, right? The escalation stuff, that's really important as far as a trigger in a trade goes. Now it's just like if there's resolution, it could be the inverse and opposite argument into news absorption at the lows. But people really, really banged their head against a wall trying to short the S&P 500 over the past few months. And as just someone with, I have no, what's the saying? I have nothing in this race. I forget how the saying goes, but just watching as someone with kind of, from afar, I thought it was pretty funny to see people really want to short S&P to zero and, just to see simple kind of trend retests hold. Sorry, I'm a little busy. I'll start posting them. I bought Ina at 10. All right. Where do you want to post them? You want to post them like on Twitter or what? Hype, Solana review, Solana on Hype. Sure, let's cover those. It's going to be fun looking at altcoins again. I have literally, ask Nelly. He still, you know, watches every one of the Paragon streams and everything like that. When was the last time I actually objectively looked at alts for a trade signal or anything? It's got to be at least 6 months. Do I use Fibonacci or Ichimoku? No, I don't. I use Fibonacci to draw like mid-ranges sometimes. That's about it. Horse in this race. Okay, there you go. Thank you. Do you pay attention to the weekly open almost flat? There's sometimes I pay attention to flat candles when it gives me confluence in regions. Like there was one last week, I believe. We had like a flat hourly open, and I used that as edge for a trade entry. Where was it? There was one of these that helped me because I was looking at like along at the lows, and we had like a flat hourly open, and I was like, when that gets repaired, gives me confluence at the composite lows, I'll take along. But it's not always going to help you. I think flat opens and flat closes, like this is the way we can talk about it. If you're in a trending environment like this and you have a pullback and a flat and it continues sending, this isn't really a good place to aim for and say, hey, we got to clean this up and then continue upwards. If you're in kind of a range bound environment, right, and you're just ping ponging and you have like a flat open that goes like this, you can probably look for that to get cleaned up. So that's the way I'll answer it. But yeah, this weekly open is almost flat. I think we have had a couple of these though. Right? Wasn't last, like a lot of Mondays guys have been super bullish, right? This is almost a flat open, right? Yeah, it did get fixed. Last week is almost a flat open. This one's almost a flat open. I know there's like baby wicks in there. Where was the weekly open? 8 p.m. That's right here. So this is your weekly open. We have, this is our wick. Kind of nothing. There's no volume in this rally. I don't know. I don't know how you're making that call. I would have traded this war better had I just ignored Twitter and all the noise here in chat. I don't have a Twitter. Okay. I mean, you can't really post charts in Twitter, right? You gotta like write it out for me. I took this trade because of X, Y, and Z. This is where I entered. This is where my invalidation was. This is why I took it. Like, get to writing, brother. I'll read it. Which day point of interest need to give a balance and which they can chop and do whatever. Can you rephrase that question, Slime? I didn't understand it. Is this the wave structure, Elliott waves? No, it's a doodle that I did on one of my charts like back in November, and I'm just leaving it on here. I never use the Coinbase chart, so I've just left the doodle on here. Just for fun. It's just on there. I can delete it. It's just a doodle. Okay, let's do Solana and Hyperliquid. Let's start with Solana and then we'll do Hyperliquid. Okay, so Solana, the number one thing that I want to point out here is momentum loss, right? Extreme downside momentum loss, right? You are developing a hyper locked in range right here. And to me, this is the start of the bottoming process, right? Volatility basically goes flat at cycle bottoms, right? Unless we get a brand new FUD event, this, whatever this ends up being, is probably going to be the range that Solana trades in for another few months at the very least, right? Weekly trend coming down, that's something that needs to compress and be flipped. That's going to take a long time to do, right? So you don't just take an EME approach, right? And we can just draw this out. Like, however this ends up looking, eventually you have to trade through it, right? It's not going to happen on the first test. It's probably not going to happen on the second test. It will happen eventually. Can this lead to high time frame downtrend continuation? Yes. The first thing you want to do is put on a fixed range volume profile. Why am I being lazy? Let me just do it myself. So drop a fixed range volume profile on here. Those are the values you're trading around. If you get effort rewarded, what does that mean? Spot selling, shorts that are opening into the lows that are not getting squeezed out, value developing below range lows on lower time frames, 1 hour, 4 hour, whatever. No perfect retests of your composite value area low. That can open up the idea to another downtrending leg. The same argument that I gave you guys with the quarterly value area low on Bitcoin, right? The exact same argument, right? So this developed a very tight composite. It's probably going to continue ranging a little bit on a mega high time frame basis. I don't know if you're going to get $40 or $48 Solana, but that was like a line that I had marked out for myself for whatever reason, just a simple SR horizontal level. I don't think Solana is going back to $15 and $9 or anything like that. I think it's down, it's down a good amount already. Volatility is compressed in Bitcoin, especially, in crypto, especially in majors with higher market caps. I don't think Solana needs to go down 95% again, right? I don't think Bitcoin needs to go down 80% again. I think this can be the start of your bottoming formation. Now, that's pretty much all there is to do for it, right? If you are looking to trade Solana, right, all you're doing is you're putting that fixed range volume profile on that I just drew for you, and you're trading around the extremities. You are fading the highs and you're fading the lows, right? There are no trends to trade in here. Let me put this on hours. You're looking to just continue playing a rotational basis on Solana for now, right? Failed acceptance outside of the range, failed acceptance outside of composite value area highs could be shorts down to the lows. Failed acceptance at composite value area lows are longs towards the highs. That's pretty much it. The RR or the EV, should I say, of your trades or your reversions are going to be a lot higher when you're trading the extremities versus trading around the POC, right? I know you can see on your eyes there's a lot of interactions around the POC, but I would just, recommend you guys to focus on trading the extremities, right? At least, for now when you're developing a range-bound trading repertoire or whatever it may be. That's pretty much it. Solana's really nothing else to say, right? You have high time frame momentum loss. You're trading sideways. You're ping-ponging between local composites. If and when you get an expansion below the composite value or low where shorts are being rewarded for opening up positions below that lows and you see spot selling down there, that's effort being rewarded directionally, and you probably want to be short biased unless it reclaims the comp lows, right? A lot of these high effort moves below the comp lows are reverting because shorts are opening and not getting rewarded for that effort. Trading Solana down here is, you should just be focusing on Bitcoin, right? It's just going to do whatever Bitcoin does. If Bitcoin, open interest is mooning and a lot of shorts are opening into the lows and they're not being rewarded for that effort, and you don't see ag or spot flows coming in to sell, a lot of that probably could be reverted. You can express that idea on Solana. Probably going to take a long time to break through the weekly trend. So Hyperliquid now. I think the best bias that I found for myself on Hyperliquid, let's see if I have this doodled on here. Nope. Where's my hype chart? Q4 value area, right? So Q4 values, that's your value area high, that's your value area low. This is the bias that I put on the Hyperliquid chart for Q1. Giga respected, failure to accept below Q1 value area low, rotating back in, gave you the bias to aim for the value area high. That's the same kind of idea that I expressed for you guys on Bitcoin. If we're holding within quarterly value, you could probably rotate back up towards the highs. Holding previous quarters, Q4's quarterly VWAP, right? You were able to push back towards the highs. Locally, this was a very clean 4-hour trend, right? So the trending move that you had from your quarterly VWAP to your quarterly value area highs was carried by the 4-hour trend. 4-hour trend was lost, right? You're getting momentum loss down here. What do I tell you guys all the time? ABCs of trend loss. When you lose the trend that was carrying you from, an objective to an objective, the most likely thing that you want to bet on is chopper range. Number 2 is going to be a reversal in trend, and number 3 is going to be reclaim and continuation. So the lowest EV thing to bet on for Hyperliquid at this moment is saying, oh, look, we're going to trade right back up through the EMAs. The EMAs are going to round over. I'm going to take a long right here, and we're going to continue. This setup, out of the 3 that I mentioned, is the lowest EV. The highest EV is you simply say, that's my range high, that's my range low. I'll be long biased here. I'll take profits if we get back into the premium, and I'll continue trading this like a range. If it breaks down below the range like this, it's probably going to trade back into the 36s or something like that, right? That's the way that you want to play Hyperliquid for now. Let's see if there's any low time frame trends that have been respected down here. probably hourly trend, 1 interaction, 2, 3, compression right here, right? The way that you play compressions, you either bet at the lows or you wait for a strong candle to break through the highs and buy into the pullback, with your invalidation being retracing back into the comp, right? You want very clean expansion through the comp, a shallow pullback, no perfect retest, invalidation if it trades back into the local comp, and you look to play trend continuation. The higher EV bet is simply, once a range gets established, try to position these ideas towards the lows. Don't be silly and just make like a random swing low your stop loss, right? Make it effort rewarded through. Reading order flow on altcoins for me is not as easy as reading Bitcoin. I've developed an edge of reading flow on Bitcoin, so I just stick to trading Bitcoin, right? If I want to express long biased ideas, I just do it on Bitcoin. People say, hey, but Bitcoin moves slower. You get a 1% move on Bitcoin, you get an 8% move on Hyperliquid. Just size bigger on Bitcoin to account for that. End of story. Mogging mag with your literacy skills. I don't even know if that's a compliment or not. Sorry, I mean, I have a Twitter, but not public. Should I DM you? I think here, let's do this offer. Next week when I stream, have some notes written and then just copy and paste them in chat. And I'll go through it. All right. We can set this up for next week, so I don't have to put you on the spot. Be like, I took a trade on X, whatever. This was my entry. This is my invalidation. This is why I took it. This was the generalized idea. I saw momentum loss. I saw a shift in trend. I saw a shift in structure. This was the baseline, whatever that I had. And I'll try to recreate it on my chart to put myself in your shoes, and we can review it that way. Your chart says 421, but it's 420. It says 420. How do you balance waiting for your SR levels, value area high, value area low? Because I'm a range trader and I put a lot of weight on my range levels, and I would like to start using market profile. I use a lot of values nowadays. So, right, a lot of people know me as an EMA trader, price action trader, range trader, whatever, right? When I started trading low time frames, my introduction to it was all the way back in April, I think, of 2024. So it's been 2 years now. And I quickly recognized that it was harder for me to develop an intraday bias using price action and SR levels and whatever. And using a daily VWAP was superior, right? I found for myself, right? Obviously, Magus uses VWAPs, right? And I'm reading his education at the time. I was already in Paragon as an analyst early 2024, but I was trying to transition my trading to fit my lifestyle so I can lock in for New York session and clock out and not hold overnight trades and not do whatever and have work-life balance and whatever, right? Be a functioning member of society again and not just be terminally online. Anyways, I recognize for myself that fixed range volume profile, periodic volume profile, VWAPs, all of these were superior for trading low time frames. And that has transitioned to me using them a lot more on higher time frames, right? You just get comfortable with the system. You start applying it other places. So yeah, I do think that there's a lot of value in VWAPs, right? I'm a VWAP enjoyer nowadays. In fact, that's where most of my trading is coming from, right? EMAs are not an execution tool for me anymore. SR levels are not an execution tool for me anymore. They're more so guides instead of tools to actually trade around, right? It's just a simple guideline, right? I respect what other market is respecting. Does that answer your question, EHS? You can ask me a follow-up question if that doesn't cover it, man. What's your go-to scalping indicator if you have one? I use this template right here. So I use everything that you guys are going to see on the right side of your screen for bias, right? Are we in an uptrend? Are we in a downtrend? Who's in control? Which EMA is being respected? What are my high time frame levels to play around? Are they going to be, previous quarterly values? Are they going to be VWAPs? Is it going to be this? Is it going to be that, right? This is how I develop a bias of like, maybe it should go up, maybe it should go down. There's momentum loss. There's this, here's that, right? Dial it into low time frame using a VWAP scan, right? So have all my VWAPs, understand where momentum is right now. To me, because I gave you guys the 4-hour EMA on the CME chart, 12-hour EMA on the crypto charts. You can even use, monthly value area high. Pretty clean uptrend at the moment. I saw a lot of exhaustion up here. That's why I took the short bias trade. If this is going to play out, we probably have to put in a lower high, right? So for me right now, I waited today and I'm like, let me see what the interaction looks like on previous week's value area high, right? Mondays are known to be the best day of the week. Like Mondays have been giga strong over the past month or two. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, 6 out of the last 7 Mondays have been extremely bullish, right? Today's bullish too, right? But let's see how this momentum carries into the rest of the week. So that's how I develop my bias. We go into the low time frame and we say, okay, I want to trade around this level. That's the weekly value area high. Let's see now how we interact with this region, right? So far today, we're pretty much respecting the daily VWAP. We've developed a good respect for the 2SD value area high. We've developed a good respect for the daily VWAP. Bulls are coming in to defend the daily VWAP. We're getting a lot of selling into the highs. If we look at flows, that's what I mainly pay attention to is aggr, open interest, volume, and a little bit of footprint, right? So the tools that I'm mainly using are the ones you're going to see on your screen here. Daily VWAP, volume profile has its use cases. Ignore the lines you see on your chart, and then open interest changes, right? Where's the effort coming in from, right? This alone is not going to do enough for you. You bring yourself over here, you look at aggr, right? Where are these flows coming in point by point? I have it on the 1 minute chart right now. Lately, I've been using ticks. And we're just basically seeing who's the driver of this effort, right? If you want a shortcut and you don't want to read aggr, put this tool onto your MMT charts, right? Aggregated perps and CVD volumes, right? You can change the color of your spot flow and your perp flow. Everything that's blue is perp. Everything that's yellow, you'll see even the shaded because it'll combine it in one candle. That's your spot flow, right? You can see who are the drivers of flows, right? Is perp driving? Is spot driving? Is it mixed, right? If you want a trend to trend, you need at least mixed flow. You can't have purely perp dominated flows. If you have mixed flow, that's fine, right? Bring it into passive side liquidity. What are the interactions, right? Are they spoofing? Are they bidding? Are people getting filled? How are they expressing their ideas? You take your trades, for me, around your levels. You see the flow that you're giving. Who's driving the effort? Are they being rewarded for that effort through a level? Are they being unrewarded for that effort through a level? You take your high EV bets once you have everything stacked in your favor. You let the market decide and give you confirmation whether you're right or wrong. If you're wrong, you know exactly what you want to see, right? If my idea is, I've done a thread on this on CT, so I'm just rehashing that. If the driver of my trade thesis is, okay, a lot of longs are opening up into the previous week's VWAP, right? And I don't think we have enough spot flow to recognize that. And if these people go underwater, that effort is not being rewarded. Therefore, those people might have to unwind some positions. And if I see the opposite of that, and I see, okay, actually, they are being met with a decent amount of spot flow here. They're being rewarded for their positions. They're staying above water. I'm not going to fight that. That's how I take my trades. That's how I make my validations. Those are the tools that I use. I have not enough ADHD to trade Bitcoin and alts at the same time. Even though they move in sync, you can either enter a little later and more often than not. Yeah, okay. I trade Mercury system, except I have some tools I built. Would you be able to review that? Yeah, Mercury system is pretty simple. I think skill issue from my side. Ignore alts if you start out scalping Bitcoin. Too much to pay attention to. Nail Bitcoin first, and you can add more complexity. 100%. There's this thing. I don't even know if I did a thread on it a long time ago, but I've yapped about this a lot on CT. The natural evolution of every trader starts off with simplicity, right? And then you get complexity, right? You add things to your system, you add indicators, you add tools, you add time frames, you add different tickers to trade, right? And then you understand that that's way too much to handle, and then you get to a second simplicity, right? The second simplicity, and what this comes down to is you start simple, you add new tools, you gather data using those tools, you prune the ones that don't work for you, you keep the ones that work for you. This second simplicity is now your new baseline simplicity. Once you're very comfortable with this and you want to start adding, you add a tool or two, right? You develop that confusion. Oh, I'm getting conflicting signals. I got analysis paralysis. You give it some time and you say, is there any edge here? Have I, increased and improved my trading? If not, you prune everything and you go back to simplicity. right? The things that I've added to my trading over the last 8 months is order book skews, which I wasn't using initially when it comes to trading, momentum trades in my low time frame trading, continuation trades in my low time frame trading, footprints, and shorting more, right? I was 99% long. Now I mix in shorts too, right? It's still very heavily long, I'll be honest, but I do take shorts nowadays too. Great answer. Okay, you got it. Cool. All right, I'll be right back. I'm gonna grab a glass of water. Ugh. Old man sounds when getting out of the chair. When was the last time you took a huge loss, like a really, really big loss on 1010? What was your mentality resetting and moving forward? 1010 was my biggest loss of P&L, like purely dollar amount. I'm not talking about drawdown on net worth or drawdown on portfolio, but like dollar amount in one day. And a lot of this came down to me having old limit orders like an idiot that I did not clean up, right? So on a Silico terminal, this was a weekend right here. This is a really dead comp weekend. Let's go back and find this. I'll walk you through this. Like, look how dead this weekend was, right? And I left some limit orders like overnight or something like that, right? I left some limit orders, and I obviously had like hard stops because I'm sleeping and stuff. Throughout the week, obviously I'm taking other trades, right? So those stops get eliminated, right? Because you're taking new trades, but I forgot to clean up those fucking old orders. So when I started trading on 1010 over here, there was a couple places along this puke that I did long along this. Those losses were kind of nothing, right? But when the wick happened, I did not realize that those old orders were in. They got filled and just bodied. And yeah, that was a massive loss, right? The other thing is I picked up some random altcoins on spot, right? Not huge size or anything like that, but I expressed some ideas, right? And obviously you guys know what happened on 1010. So that was a big loss. As far as the trades go, the trade plans, the ideas, the high time frame, whatever, I wasn't upset about it. Because I'm like, dude, I can't plan for a fucking 1010 type of event where altcoins go down 99% one day and some altcoins literally wick to zero. I can't plan for that. I was upset at myself about being negligent on the open orders that I had on the Bitcoin account. Like, that was the first massive time that I fucked up an intraday account in my entire career. And it wasn't even like my loss. It's just me being like negligent idiot, not realizing that I had those open orders in there. On an intraday account where I'm trading for $1,000 move, $2,000 move at 120K, 1% moves, right? That's like the basis of it. Having a fucking, 7% drawdown on an entry is crushing, right? So big P&L loss there. Mentally, I was pretty okay, right? Like, I did a stream for Paragon a couple hours later. I was live in Paragon, like shooting the shit with Mag a couple hours later. Because to me, I was thinking about it two ways. Number one, I'd never had a loss like that in my career. Never, right? I have been, I didn't get hit by Luna. I didn't get hit by 3AC. I didn't get hit by FTX. I didn't get hit by USDC DPEG. I didn't get hit by anything. I didn't get hit by tariffs. I didn't get hit by fucking Japan yen. Like, I've been fucking on point for a long fucking time. So I knew some wild, tail risk type of crypto event, just like the nature of being in crypto is going to catch up to me eventually. So no big deal, right? The P&L loss, again, didn't hurt. One thing that bugged me, the main thing that bugged me, is throughout all of 2025, I was repeating one thing. I was like, from these lows, right? I was long biased. We nailed some longs. I made a lot of money in summer. Cashed out, whatever, right? I was like, I don't have any fucking interest in altcoins. I have no fucking interest. I have no interest. I have no interest. I just kept repeating it. I was like, said it on streams to you guys. I don't want to pick up spot, whatever. And I think it was literally right here, somewhere in here, I expressed some bullish opinions via altcoins, right? I picked up some spot here, there, whatever. Picked up some here, picked up some there, whatever. And when I was, when 1010 happened, all I said to myself is, why did you allow the market to influence you? Every day and every week, I was getting asked, whether in Paragon or public streams or CT, Doc, when are you going to buy alts? When are you going to buy alts? And I spent the entire year from January until September saying, I don't want to fucking buy any altcoins. And I slipped up and I allowed myself to buy some alts. Again, it's not even that big because 90% of my net worth was in the bank. It's like whatever was in crypto is what I put into those coins, right? So the net worth drawdown and percentage-wise drawdown is not that big of a deal, but the dollar amount kind of fucking hurt. And it was one day, and it's not even one day, it was like within an hour, right? It just all happened at once. And I was pretty upset at myself about that. But I bounced back pretty quick. I think it was literally instantly. Like the next couple of days, I was taking Bitcoin longs. I shorted 115. I got the short from 115 to fucking 107 or something like that. We expressed long bias ideas. I shorted up here at this sweep. Like we just move on because there's nothing I can do about it. It's over. Right? It's over. It happened. I acknowledged what my mistake was in all of this. I acknowledged, the biggest thing that bothered me was me not sticking to my plans. It's not even that the market did whatever. I didn't blame the market. I didn't blame go on these wild goose chases with, this fucking trading firm did something negligent. Oh, it's Binance. They caused this. Oh, it was Trump and Binance and they colluded and they did the. I didn't care about any of that. All I said to myself is, Doc, you slipped up mentally. You had a mental lapse. You didn't stick to your guns. You allowed yourself to get influenced by other people's ideas a little bit. And that's not a mistake that I have made as a trader in years. I had not allowed myself to get influenced by anyone's trade ideas since all the way back in this shit. And I remember it explicitly. The first trading account that I ever doubled, in the middle of doubling that account, I took a massive fucking loss. And that was because I saw a trader, I'm not going to name, that's massive on CT, who had the hot hand, who called the top, who was traded the market very well in 2022, was calling bottoms, calling tops, that posted a trade idea on a certain altcoin, and I tailed his idea. I abandoned my plans. I tailed his long idea. His long went underwater. I sized incorrectly. Instead of cutting the trade when I knew I should cut the trade, I added to the trade, and then eventually I had to capitulate it. And that drew down my account, my first profitable perp trading account. 3 months of profits were wiped out in one trade. 3 months of me grinding out that account were wiped out. And that was embarrassing. That was the last time I allowed myself to get influenced by anyone else's ideas, right? And I allowed myself to get a little influence before 1010. Still, like I said, wasn't the biggest issue because I was protected again, but yeah, it hurt a little bit. And it didn't even hurt from I lost X amount of money kind of thing. It was just, Doc, what the fuck, bro? Why did you stay headstrong for so long and express some bullish ideas on this random weekend, right? That was it. Cooked when you got a moan to get up from your seat. Yeah, old man vibes, dude. What up? Even though I have moved on from crypto and trading index futures nowadays, came here to drop a hello as I've learned a lot from you in my crypto days. Love to hear that, man. And best of luck to you. Best of luck to you. If it makes you feel any better, all the shady market makers on Nance got rinsed. I don't give a shit. I haven't thought about this in a long time. I can laugh about it. I don't give a fuck. I have traded very well since then. Hedging, shorting, trading, longing, everything. I got caught in a little bit of a bad bias right here where I stuck with counter trend longs for too long rather than shorting. That was very brief. Whatever this time period was, like 5-6 days of trying to force counter trend longs in a downtrend versus playing with the trend. I was profitable through this whole thing, but to me, like mentally, again, it wasn't about like, I lost money or anything like that. It was more like, why did I stick with that mindset right here? Like, why did I choose those trades in this moment? Why didn't I take a step back? Whatever. And I have absolutely shit on this range. Like, we're shitting and pissing all over the fucking range right now. Yeah, I know. It's not like I'm completely starting out. Oh, you're talking to Nelly. Only thing that kills me sometimes is impatience, but I've improved a lot on this over the past few months. Back in August. Nice, man. Why order book skews instead of the usual DOM? Really great DOM on EXO charts. So here's the thing with trading, man. There's multiple ways to skin a cat. There's multiple ways to gather information. At the end of the day, what matters is how you're improving on your own trading. And there may come a day where I use DOM, right? There might come a day, like I just started using footprints last year, right? I traded successfully on a 1 minute chart without it. A lot of people say you have to use footprint for intraday, right? I use fixed range volume profiles. A lot of people prefer TPO, right? For good reason. TPO is a very like tried and true system for profiles. I get the job done just as easily with fixed range volume profile. I don't even bother myself with, poor highs, poor lows, single prints, AMT logic. But I know that it works. I know DOM works, right? So I don't need to do everything. I just need to do what's in my wheelhouse well, right? I need to know what works for me, and I need to know how well I can do it and execute it on it day by day and make those arrows sharper and sharper and sharper. And there may be a day that comes where I say, you know what? Let's go check out this DOM thing. Let me go see how DOM works, how ladder works. Let's try it. Let me try TPO, right? That might be the natural evolution. And I may go to those things and say, meh, I'm not seeing the best results, or meh, or no, the opposite, like, yay, wow, that is actually better. Let me actually move towards this, right? Time will tell. Did you start trading from 3 figs? No. My first introduction to markets was April 2020. That was the first time I ever bought anything, and I already had 4 figs. It's like mid, it was like 7K. My entire everything has been built from that original 7K. Yo, good morning, bit late. Doc wanted to reach out to you in Magus, but couldn't, even wrote through WAP. My problem is I can't buy Paragon membership with crypto. Interesting. I think the best thing to do, and sorry, Charlie, if you're listening, is to DM Charlie, because he handles all the accounting for Paragon, and he will probably be very familiar with whatever issue you're having. I ask because I spent the last 6 months building up an account, doing really well, and the last 2 weeks literally made every mistake and wiped out all the progress and nearly broke the account. It happens, man. It happens. I think we've all been there, right? I just shared that idea with you about like how in 2022 I made a mental mistake of copying someone else's ideas, and I fucking drew down my account hella. It happens to all of us, right? And I always say, right, like trading is literally 10% charts, indicators, system, fucking whatever, right? It's 10% of that. 90% of what it takes to be a good trader is repeated discipline. You lose your discipline for a bit, things can get ugly very fast, right? You want to size up irrationally after a loss. You want to copy trade someone else's idea. You want to go to trading a different coin that you're not, well versed in. You want to try something new with whatever, right? Those are the discipline mistakes that we make that fucking destroy us. Come back to me buying some altcoins right here. Discipline mistake, nothing else, right? I told myself the entire year, I don't really care. I don't really want to buy altcoins. I sold the top. I'm happy. I've changed my life. I bought a house. I moved across the country. I have a solid bank account now, right? I got a fucking 401k. I got all this. Like I'm chilling. I can just wait to buy the next bear market bottom, right? But I had cash that was sitting in the fucking wallet, doing nothing, collecting dust. I'm not using it in my intraday trading. I'm not using it for anything. And I'm like, fuck it. It's some of your capital. Buy some shit. Discipline mistake. For example, okay. I only focus on one altcoin at a time. I honestly don't know how you guys do this. I only pair trade multiple positions at once. To each their own, man. Is the fixed range volume profile that important? For me, it is. For me, it gives me a fantastic bias. For me, it gives me really clean setups. It gives me a lot of edge to combine with other aspects of my trading. I find it very useful, and I think TPO logic is about the exact same thing, right? Maybe your highs and lows on TPO are slightly different, because the calculation is slightly different, but it's generally the exact same idea. You did well, Doc. I don't know what this is in regards to, but thank you. How to read and use order book imbalance from your template. I have a video on that in Paragon. The skews are just telling you which side the book is weighted for certain ranges. My top one is 2.5%. This is 5%. This is 10%. It just tells you what the skews are. When they're balanced, it's an equal amount of asks and above price and bids below price. When they're skewed in one direction, it tells you that there's an imbalance between bids and asks in a certain range. Again, 2.5%, 5%, 10%. What the fuck? I'm going to surpass Doc and Nelly soon. Rooting for you, man. What are you doing else trading? Mean, are you a real doctor? I am not a doctor. I'm not practicing medicine, but I am a medical school graduate. I passed 2 board certification exams, so the USMLE part were step 1 and step 2. I was applying for the match program back in 2023, or was planning to for the year of 2023 before I was obsessed with trading, and I was like, dude, let's push this back a year, and this is here we are. So yeah, I mean, I could probably still apply for the match, but I don't know how many interviews I'd get at this moment. I can't find the fixed range volume profile on TradingView. It's right here. Simple chart reviews, ENA, XMR, TRX. So we covered TRX a little bit. TRX is just giga strong, man. It's the first time in a long time that the 365-day rolling is leading your weeklies. Your weeklies did flip negative or whatever for a little bit. So anytime trends flatten out, so if trends go like this to sideways, it's indicating more range bound versus extremely strong uptrend. This uptrend started, at the FTX lows and continued all the way up before flattening out, right? When a trend that is respected for a very long time breaks, the ABCs come into play. So what's your range high? What's your range low? There's your range high. There's your range low, right? TRX is the premium of the range right now. I would not be super bullish at 37, right? I would be optimistic at 26. That's the way that you want to trade TRX for now. ENA, I think I saw ENA recently, probably made new lows and went sideways. Oh yeah, this is one of the altcoins that I picked up back here. Picked up ENA off the weekly trend right before 1010. Actually, let's just delete everything. Why am I doing this so slow? Okay, start from a high time frame. Okay, we're probably just gonna have to dial it into this. Let's see, are any trends being respected on ENA at the moment? Pull up the daily. Decent. Never flipped positive. Now you're flipping it. Okay, so change in character on ENA slightly. The same daily trend held from 69 cents all the way down to 9 cents. Massive drawdown on ENA. Went from very clean respect for the daily downtrend to disrespecting the daily downtrend. You are going to do the exact same thing. You're going to take the lows. Weekly trend is probably going to be resistance. Take the highs. That becomes your range. Draw a mid-range on here. That becomes the values that you're working with. You can look at this local uptrend and say, hey, what was being respected on ENA right here? I see the 4-hourly trend immediately. Pretty decent 4-hourly trend respect the entire way up. Very strong expansion at the highs, fully retraced, just like Bitcoin, right? As long as the 4-hour trend is holding, if you want to express bullish ideas, you do so on the 4-hour trend. When the 4-hour trend is lost, your idea becomes the exact same of Number 1, range. Number 2, reversal. Number 3, reclaim continuation. So if ENA does something like this and drops below the 4-hour trend, you could say, hey, maybe there's going to be an interim bounce somewhere around mid-range that bounces back up. What you don't want to do is immediately say, oh, we've done this, we've done that, whatever. Now we're going to hold the 4-hour trend and just continue going forever. This is possible, but out of the 1, 2, and 3, it's the lowest expected value setup, right? So what you want to rather do is play it from a range-bound perspective. Next thing you do is add some VWAPs on here and ask yourself the exact same thing. Are any VWAPs being respected? You could say, hey, this is the monthly. Quarterly and monthly are the exact same thing because it's April, right? And you can say we're holding outside of monthly value. As long as we continue to hold outside of monthly value, we can continue expressing bullish ideas, right? You can probably look for 2SD on the value area high for your first TP if you want to be long biased in this location. And then see how that plays out. Once you rotate back into value, it opens up the idea for your value area low. What was the last one? TRX, ENO, what else did you ask for? XMR. Not much to say on this, to be honest. I think they're just better altcoins to trade. Like, I think for an XMR, anything that trades like this much chop, if you want to express a bullish idea, you do so through spot, right? You buy a spot bag, you chill in it. There's not really much else to say. I don't know why I drew this here. Just delete it. Same thing you could do. Long-standing weekly uptrend from June 2024, no longer being respected, knifed right through it. ABCs, number 1 would be range, right? So you are developing a range right here. The last big point of breakdown is probably around 465 or we're 460s. If you break out of this local range, we're going to take this one, swing high, we're going to take this one as your low. If you get rewarded effort, right, what that looks like is, again, it's going to be harder to read order flow, but if you get spot rewarded effort through the highs, no perfect retest, little mini comp built here, a trend carrying you along the way, you could probably play another leg towards these highs. Otherwise, just probably fade the highs and look to play back to the lows for now. Plan A, plan B. This is your premium region. This is your discount region. It's a lot easier to express bullish ideas in a discount than a premium. Once you're into the premium, you have to either bet on range expansion, not fully retracing, or whatever trend that's carrying you to continue trending. How long did it take you to be profitable? We can just quickly look over this chart. I'll keep this on in the background while I answer other questions. That's the quick doc lore right there. Uh, 2025 yearly VWAP and current yearly VWAP carried that shit. Oh, shit, which coin are we talking about? Are we talking about ENA? Slime, if you really want me to look at it, just remind me which coin. ENA is so destroyed, it really is. Getting close to your POI, doc just broke 76K. I'll keep an eye on it, man. I got it right here on the left. Do you think Bitcoin would need a news-driven narrative to trend up to low 80Ks? I think here's the main thing in markets right now. The main headline and news and everything is the war, right? We bottomed. The best time to express a bullish argument was at range lows, at comp lows, at quarterly value area low, when you got news absorption. You got an escalation in the war narrative. You got Trump talking about boots on the ground and this and that and all that kind of stuff. We held the lows. We punished shorts that shorted on that low volume Saturday move down below the comp lows. That was the best time to express a bullish argument. So the top could be two things. It could be good news that doesn't drive positive flows, like Trump saying the war is over all of this is resolved, or a very clear-cut de-escalation in the war that brings clarity back to the markets, that could be the end of the kind of news-driven trade, or some brand new news, right? And some brand new good news that comes out into the markets that doesn't get expressed through a God candle, or maybe it does and the whole thing retraces, could be a decent idea to fade as well, right? Other than that, it's just a basic kind of trend VWAP sort of argument. Everything that I covered at the beginning of the stream. Wait for the Can't believe I did that in the public stream. Do I have any alerts here? I don't. Let's put some alerts on. Does Paragon have a paid course? Course as in like, no, it's just a group. It's a, I mean, it, how do I answer this question properly? Sorry, my brain's fried. We have, I don't know at this point, hundreds, if not 1,000 hours of educational material in there, videos, full educational library, everything that you need, A to Z, beginner stuff, rookie stuff, order flow stuff, nuance, psychology, trading, trends, ranges, momentum, spaghetti, low time frame, high time frame, positional trading, spot trading, altcoin trading, trend trading. Literally everything that you need is in there, 100%. Weekly streams, outlooks, analysis, nonstop trading and trading chat. It's got everything. It's not just a course. I think calling it a course is selling us way short. Monad, Hype, Tau, Ton. Ton. I've seen the other three. So let's look at Ton. This is one of your best looking alts? That can't be. Can't be, sir. I disagree. I don't think it belongs in the categories of Hype or even Monad. Wait, we have this on here. I think Monad looks decent. Long-standing accumulation range, breakthrough. This is probably, is this my rolling? No, this is my anchored VWAP. Oh, that's the Paragon Weekly. Let's drop an anchored on here and see what we see. Okay, exact same thing. Nice. So it was the anchored. DOCN, is that a ticker? Digital Ocean Holdings. This looks good. This looks good. Respect the trend until the trend ends, baby. Very simple. Nothing else to really say. Equities are strong. Equities are trending. Bid dips into the trend. Ignore the news, the narratives, whatever. When the trend ends, then you can chill out on it. I'm shorting Ton at the moment. Near and Pump. Nothing really to say about Pump. You can look at Near. There's literally nothing to say about Pump. It's going sideways. Like any altcoins that look like this, that are developing low volatility ranges where you have like demarcated highs and lows. It's the same argument that I gave you with Monad, right? Long-standing accumulation ranges like this, you simply just continue playing the range. You have very strong high time frame trends to deal with. If and when these get flipped, it can lead to a fresh bullish uptrend. It probably takes a bit of time, right? You probably still want to continue fading rips and buying dips. When this changes is when aggression gets rewarded through the lows, right? People get rewarded for shorting a breakdown. That's when you can get another downtrending move. If that doesn't happen, and every time shorts come into the lows, they get absorbed and you drop back right back into range, all you want to do is continue bidding and protecting the discount. You don't want to take every single long into the highs and be like, this is the breakout, right? It's probably not going to work the first or the second or even the third time. Like you look at something like a Monad, right? Like how many rejections towards, like how many rips got rejected before it started developing a clean uptrend? Near? Can there be some? Nelly's been trading Near, so maybe there's something here. knows when these doodles are from. It's got to be like years ago now. When was this? June 2025. Similar argument, right? Like you've traded all the way back down into last cycle's bear market bottom. Near even made lower lows. Like it traded below the Near traded lower than it did last bear market, right? So like anything that's making new lows in a new cycle is probably not that good of a coin. Yeah, man, you just gotta wait for a long-standing sideways. Like doing analysis or wasting your time trading a coin like this doesn't make a lot of sense to me. If there's a narrative here, break it down to lower time frames, find a trend that is being supported, bid on the trend. Anytime trends are super flat like this, they're not worth paying attention to, in my opinion. So remove the daily. What's really clean? 4 hour. What's happening here? Momentum loss, trend loss. What do we bet on now? We're already in the context of the downtrending weekly trend. There's your range high. There's your range low. Play it as a range. Any pumps up here probably should be for fading, right? Lowest EV bet you can make is reclaim and continuation. Highest EV is trend. Next would be reversal. Third would be reclaim continuation. Reclaim and continuation has a lot better opportunity of working in a bull market when you're above your weekly trends and yearly VWAPs and monthly everything, right? When everything is pointing up, these reclaim and continuation setups work a lot better. When you're in a very strong downtrend where you're just getting rejected by the same weekly trend for forever, harder to express that idea. There's Bitcoin ripping. There's the alert. There's the alert. Short squeeze. Get shit on shorts. Come on. Any day now. You're not going to load, screw it. Go back over here. I'll keep this on. VVV breakout imminent. Show me Fartcoin. It's the same as all the other charts, dude. Everything that I said about near and all these other coins is going to apply to Fartcoin. Poll worth looking at the moment? Poll. Don't tell me that's Matic. Isn't that what the rebrand was for Matic? Was Poll? Oh, this is gonna be horrifying. Yeah, any coin that looks like this, guys, I would just say just ignore it. I mean, unless you just have some dire conviction thesis on a coin like this, just ignore it for a while until it develops a range and flips downtrends, and then you can get ready to look for bigger moves. Hood, Tesla, Palantir, Hims. Okay, we'll do that in a minute. Check out Hood, check out Oracle. Oh my god, I hope I'm not wasting your time asking these if they're all the same thesis. All altcoins that look like that are going to be the exact same thesis, 100%. They're not going to be any different. Yeah, maybe like some are going to be looking a little bit better on the 4 hour, the 1 hour, but all of them are the exact same. If you're trading altcoins right now, your idea is this. I'll just draw it out for you. They're all in a weekly downtrend, right? They've all come to a point of like dead volatility. They'll build out a range. They'll probably reject off the weekly trends a few times. Eventually you'll get above the weekly trend. That doesn't mean that a bull market has to start. It may just retrace again, and then we can develop maybe a strong bullish uptrend. A lot of them are still here. Even if this plays out, right, it's probably going to still take some time. We're still a couple months, if not quarters away, right? Even if altcoins are bottomed, let's just make a hypothetical. Every single altcoin, every single thing, Bitcoin is bottomed, everything in the market is bottomed, right? You're at your FTX lows right now. Look how long this took. Can we just do this and just yeet right back up to 100K? Of course, anything can happen. Is it the highest EV bet to make at the moment? I don't think so. Doc, if you're an intraday long, would you close your position after that 2 ED and failed breakout attempt? Now in hindsight, so let's look. Big burst buying by Nance Spot and Coinbase. I prefer Nance over Coinbase lately. There's not a spot twop. There's just burst type of aggression. You come to low time frames. Look where we're trading on low time frames. Let's find out. We're trading. Well, we've been grinding up all day, right? So a bunch of people in Paragon, Magus, Nelly, etc. took a lot of longs today off of the rolling and the daily VWAP. I myself did not entertain any kind of longs. I just kind of been sitting out today, mainly because I didn't get much sleep last night. Value continuing to rotate up, right? You didn't even have to drop back into the daily VWAP. You're holding the value area high. We're pushing up right now. Whether you're in a long from here or here, you're trading up, you're getting liquidations, you're forcing out a lot of shorts. The high time frame or kind of medium time frame point of interest is right here. So it depends where your long is in, right? Let's make an assumption, right? Let's say you're in a long from somewhere in here, from the daily VWAP, right? Invalidation effort rewarded below. Your take profit is a weekly value area high. You've captured 90% of your trade. You need to be considering evolving R right now. You are risking this much to make this much, right? So you need to be scaling out, right? Even if your idea is here, exact same thing. You're saying, oh, I got momentum loss, efforts not being rewarded below the 1 SD band. My invalidation is a breakdown of this local comp. My take profit is TP number 1, SD2, TP number 2, weekly value area high. We've gotten 90% of the way there. I think you should be locking in some profits, 100%. MIO, swing trading stocks for momentum is way higher EV than altcoins. I agree with you. How old are you? 26? A little bit older than that. A little bit older than that. Look who's back. What up, Abel? Don't ignore them. They're good shorts. They always get a quick pump and trend to zero. Are we talking about the alts or are we talking about your equities? I would assume your equities look a lot better. Chili sending. Nelly, you've been trading a lot of VVV, and Morpho. Yeah, VVV is definitely a Nelly coin. What was the other coin, Nelly, that you were trading a lot earlier this year? There was one alt that I think you were like literally the only person that I know that was trading that coin. I think the chart from memory looked like this. Altcoins, of course, 100%, 100%. Oh, CC. It was CC. That was a good catch by you. Motherfucker loves the CCs and the VVVs. Oh, yeah. Decent memory. Shit's probably gonna rip again, man. Built value higher. Rounding off, momentum loss. Higher lows. Flip the daily downtrend. Effort rewarded through 16. Probably get continuation. What was I looking at? Hood. Oh, here we go. I gotta look at my generational fumble on Hood. Yeah, this looks solid too. This looks solid as far as like a bottoming process goes. A lot of stuff looks pretty good, man. My question was more in the educational direction. The pullback off of 2SC before we broke it right now was a textbook close of the long short close, and we didn't held the impulse SP single print. Would you close? Let's look again. Let's look again. You're talking about this. We didn't hold. Let me get rid of this. I didn't trade that. Questions more in the education. educational direction. The pullback off the S2 and D before we broke it. Are you talking about this or maybe this? Okay, so what I would say is regardless, right? My analysis doesn't change. If you longed here, you want to be taking profits in the extremities, right? If you longed here, again, your take profit would be into the extremities. What is the meta for today? What is the market showing you? We respect what the market is respecting. It's trading within value. It's uptrending. They're grinding up. You're defending your weekly, you're defending your daily VWAP, and now you're developing value at your 1ST high, right? So momentum is up, right? Clear-cut take profits are going to be into the extremities because that's what their market is respecting. The next level is going to be your weekly VWAP. I know you're talking about effort candles here, but even if you ignore this, these are going to be TP regions, right? You're going to want to scale some profits. If you want to keep a runner, the runner is based off of we are shifting value higher and higher throughout the day, right? Buyers are coming in, we're shifting value higher and higher. If we want to leave a runner, the runner is going to be your weekly VWAP. If you're seeing shorts puking out of your position, right, and you're saying that should be a reason for me to take profits, yeah, but you can simplify this and just say, yeah, you're getting closer and closer to the levels that make sense to take profit anyways. The EV on your trade thesis is diminishing the closer you get towards those take profit regions, right? So TP1, ST2, TP2 would be your previous week's value area high. Did you see Circle? Last few, and then we're going to call it a stream, boys. Circle looks good too. Big puke, momentum loss, fresh initiative drive upwards, probably pullbacks for buying. Rave, I actually never looked at this coin. I know everyone was trading it. Oh my god. Well, there you go. There's Rave. With Bitcoin, what are you keeping an eye on for today's close and the weekly close? I think mainly for me right now is Bitcoin going to be able to find buyers above previous week's value area high? If so, probably continue trending upwards. I think this should probably cap price if we put in the top last Friday. If we didn't, momentum's probably going to continue to the upside, at least for now, right? The best way to express bullish ideas on Bitcoin is going to be with the CME 4-hour trend and with the 12-hour trend. All of those things I covered at the beginning of the stream when we did the Bitcoin Yap. So I don't really want to rehash that because we spent a good amount of time talking about that already. I want to see the interactions with the previous week's value, right? So as we trade into this right now, for the rest of the day, that's really what I want to see. Is effort going to be rewarded through this region, or are we going to fail? If we get acceptance outside of previous week's value, it probably is saying, yeah, we're probably going to make a higher high on the macro scale, probably going to go to 80K or something like that. I fumbled the bag on Circle at 90. That sucks, man. Next live stream next Monday. Yeah, I'll be back next Monday. Quick ETH overview. All right. It's true. I haven't done ETH. ETH. Rounding off and showing momentum loss at previous year's value area low. On a macro scale, on high time frame, ETH is just chilling at sort of range lows, right? Simple SR has been respected for multiple years. Momentum loss coming into the lows, a lot of short effort coming into the lows, not being rewarded. Excuse me, not short effort, selling effort coming into the lows, not being rewarded. Trading up into the weekly trend right now. Probably gets bonked somewhere in this region, continues to flesh out a range. That's what you can see on the super high time frame on the weekly charts. The VWAP scan, we already talked about the monthly or the yearly value area low, pretty good region to find that momentum loss. On the quarterly, pretty much the exact same situation is Bitcoin holding outside of the quarterly value, rotating back in, first rejection at the quarterly VWAP, holding back in a quarterly value. The next logical target from a quarterly VWAP perspective would be around 2,700, right? Can we get all the way to 2,700? To be determined. Right now, on a local scale, Bitcoin looks better than ETH. Bitcoin is trading into the premium all the way up into previous week's value area high. ETH is still at a discount region, so ETH is lagging relative strength against Bitcoin at the moment when it was leading before. I think ETH was a little bit stronger last week and the week before over Bitcoin and lost some of that relative strength over Bitcoin. We can look at ETH BTC and figure this one out quickly. Yeah, you guys can see that. Long-standing support. ETH BTC getting rejections here. A little bit local weakness over the past couple days. Go back to the VWAP scan. If acceptance through previous week's VWAP opens the door to previous week's value very high, right? That's ETH. Doc, would you consider further extension of price for momentum upside 4-hour trend previous VWAP, or would you leave room for it if it pulls back? Okay, we're talking about Bitcoin, yeah? Would you consider the further extension of price for momentum upside 4-hour trend and previous VWAP, weekly VWAP, or would you leave room for it if it pulls back to previous week value area low, yearly VWAP before abandoning the long idea? So let's go back over to Bitcoin. Okay. So if you're looking for weekly value area low, you need this type of region to cap you, or any kind of expansion through here to fail and for price to rotate and remain rotational within previous week's value, right? That's number one. That's what you would need to see right here to even open up your ideas to weekly value area low. If you got to weekly value area low, you are, in my opinion, most likely, let's confirm this. So if we failed here and we drop back below, we'd still kind of be in the context of the 12-hour trend, but it'd be the first time the 12-hour has made a lower low, right? Higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low, you would be making a lower low, right? So that'd be a shift in market structure on the 12-hour trend. You'd still be holding the 12-hour trend. I think you would be losing the CME 4-hour for sure, though, right? If you made a lower low, this would be a shift in character. That would be kind of like a no-go as far as local trend and local momentum goes. So you probably don't want to see a tag of weekly value area low if you're bullish at this moment. If you're bullish at this moment, you need to see at best, in my opinion, like your previous week's VWAP hold, right? If this fails and you hold into this region tomorrow, that would be pretty solid. This whole thing would be looking like a rounded bottom, right? Low, lower low, higher high, higher low, continue upwards. I don't think you want to see previous week's value area low if you're bullish at this moment on Bitcoin. Doc, when you take a trade, are you able to explain the mechanism for why you'd win? 100%. Yeah, like the back of my hand. How do you spend time when day trading? Wait, let me read this again. How do you spend time when day trading and you're in an active trade but not much is happening? Well, I have the trade open on my laptop, on my desk. I have TradingView open, as you guys can see right in front of me. What you guys can't see is left of my TradingView chart is like Discord. So I'd just be talking in Paragon chat. That's really it. I don't really step away from my desk too much. Like I'll be at the desk at most. I'll walk to the kitchen, talk to my girlfriend, walk to the other room. That's about it. I'll be able to hear the alerts from the other room, or at least I should be able to. I'm not going to walk away when we're at a certain, stressor point. Like if I'm at entry, I'm not really walking away. If I'm, at exit, I did make a mistake last week where I did do this, where I took an entry and I did walk away. And then that hurt a little bit. I'll talk about that on my Wednesday Paragon stream when I do my trade reviews. But yeah, I'm pretty like just sitting right here. I'm not really doing much, just chatting in Paragon. Not really a high IQ answer, but yeah, this is nothing fancy. Are you able to explain who your counterparty is and why they'd lose to you? Yeah. You have a thesis, 100%. You have a thesis of who you're fading, especially when you're trading price extremity, of what effort is coming in, who's putting in the effort, why you're taking a counter to them, and why they should likely fail. I took a bunch of trades on 2 different accounts. One is more of an intraday account up here last week. One is a swing account, right? The swing is round tripping, but that was all part of the, that's how swings go. Like, let me bring your guys' attention to one of these. This is why we trade intraday and swing. Look at this round trip. No profits were taken. Full round trip all the way back to entry. Still hit the target, right? And the other intraday account was profits were taken into this grind down right here on Saturday. Fully closed. So lock in the intraday trades. But 100%, when we're taking any kind of execution, we're understanding what is the location, what's the confluence, what's the flow looking like, who's leading price, are they doing a good job at it, where can they find trouble, where's the fragility in the chart, who stands to lose here, what is my best trade opportunity, where am I wrong, how am I wrong, if my thesis is incorrect, what am I going to see on the chart, what am I going to see on flow, how do I abandon my trade, etc. They are very important. If you had 50 grand and starting on your trading journey, would you still mainly trade Bitcoin? At this moment, yes. At this moment, if I had 50 grand to my name, I would still be intraday Bitcoin focused. As far as the majority, I don't need $50,000 trading account to trade my normal size on Bitcoin. I'm pretty comfortable with my trade size. I'm pretty comfortable with my win percentage. There's not going to be a case where I lose X amount of trades in a row and blow up the entire account. So a bunch of that 50K is going to be dead capital. I don't need that as margin on my intraday account. I will be looking for either swing opportunities, either on Bitcoin itself or altcoins. The majority of my gains, the wealth is going to be created from buying altcoins in a bull run, right? Developing a strong, high conviction core thesis on an altcoin and buying the fuck out of the spot in that altcoin. That is going to be what amplifies your capital from 50K to $1 million. It's not going to be intraday trading Bitcoin. Intraday trading Bitcoin is your day job. That's your income. A lot of you guys have jobs and do crypto as, your second source of income potentially, right? You make money in your job and you come and you invest it in altcoins and you buy coins and you look for 10x's and 20x's, you buy Bitcoin, etc., right? For me as a trader, trading is my income. That's what's going to continue feeding myself, my family, whatever, and building capital. So every time I double a perp account, I'm liquidating that account and I'm adding it to the swing accounts or spot accounts every single time, right? If I put in a 20K, account, if it turns to 40K over 4 months or however long the fuck it takes me to do that, I'm taking the 20K out and I'm putting it in another account, right? That's what I do on an intraday basis. How deep are you into health in terms of quality food, water, active lifestyle, and blood work? Throughout my entire life, pretty S tier outside of probably my 3rd year of med school, which is a long time ago now. Throughout my life, literally S tier on all of those things you mentioned. In the last 3 years, pretty negligent. I'd say like C tier, eating out a lot and stuff like that, but that's changed over the course of the last few months. The last few months, I've taken my health a lot more seriously. Eating a lot healthier. Like my sleep was terrible. From 2022 to 2024, my sleep was an F-. Worst quality of sleep, worse hours. It's just awful, right? That's improved by tenfold. Physical activities improved a lot too. I've been playing tennis with my girlfriend several times a week. Going to the gym again. All these things are moving parabolically the last few months. But I'm not going to say that it's always been perfect. For a long part of my trading journey, health was the last thing I cared about. I didn't give a fuck. Sacrifice everything. Sacrifice friends, sacrifice social life, sacrifice literally everything. Relationships, doesn't matter, right? It's just focus on trading. Just focus on being better. Blood work I do every 6 months. That's more so, well, I don't even want to get into it, but yeah, about 6 months. Yo, what up? Coming back from Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, I assume that you mean. And I see you streaming. Can I get more beautiful? It cannot, dude. This is peak life experience right now. If I simulate my future P&L, don't do that. Mistake. With not so crazy parameters, 50% win rate, 2-to-1 trades, 20 trades per month. Things compound very quickly. Am I being overly optimistic? You never project future P&L, because you quickly realize that trading is not mechanical and it requires a lot of discipline. You're going to have discipline errors. You're going to get reads wrong. You're going to go on little mini losing streaks. You're going to go and probably hit a banger trade. You're going to be upset that, hey, price hit my TP and then ripped 10% afterwards and I didn't capture any of that and didn't have any setups, and then you're going to try to revenge. All of these things are part of maturing as a trader, and you have to go through those trials and tribulations. It's never going to be mechanical of like, oh yeah, I'm just robotic. I'm always going to take 2-1 trades. I'm always going to have a 50% win rate, and I'm just going to keep increasing my capital. You're going to find it very difficult to scale your sizing, right? 1 Bitcoin to 2 Bitcoin to 5 Bitcoin to 10 Bitcoin is going to be tougher than you think. There's a mental hurdle to overcome with a lot of that. A lot of traders don't talk about this. I think it's pretty difficult to do. Those things get in your head, right? And you have to relearn execution. You have to relearn your discipline at a new portfolio size. All of these things are challenges that you're going to have to overcome. It's a journey. But yeah, your targets of saying 50% win rate to our trades, it's extremely obtainable. You're not setting ambitious targets, right? That's very level-headed, right? But I'm trying to just caution you in the other thing. Don't get into this thing of projecting your P&L. You have to prove it. You have to be able to do what you say you're going to do. You have to be able to take 2R trades at a 50% win rate. Prove that you can do it. Do it for 6 months first, and then worry about, okay, I've done this for 6 months. This is what my year is going to look like, right? Prove that you can. Don't just do it for 2 weeks and then start fantasizing about this is what my yearly P&L will look like, and then second year will be this, and third year will be that, and fourth year will be this. First, prove it. First, do it. My big spot bet for this cycle will be Hyperliquid sub 20. Yeah, man, I think the biggest bullish argument in crypto at the moment is a lot of us have very consensus ideas. A lot of us want to buy spot Bitcoin and spot Hyperliquid at certain prices. And Bitcoin has this knack of not giving you what you want. And it makes it very uncomfortable for you to buy the prices that you want to buy. When those prices come, it comes with a lot of FUD and you lower your targets. And then they don't come and 6 months passes and you say, okay, the bottom's in, and you start buying higher. And then a FUD event comes in and you wish you had the capital, right? Or it just leaves without you and you have no plan. You have no backup plan. You're just like, holy fuck, the bottom's in. We're at 96K and we flipped the weekly trend and we look like we're in a bull market again. What the fuck? The bear market was only 3 months long. That doesn't make any sense. We have to be this, we have to be that, right? Life is rarely as easy and as simple as the things we plan for. Make backup plans, guys. If you don't have backup plans for your trading right now, start making them. What if this happens? How will I react? What will I get exposure to? If your whole plan is one thing and that the market doesn't give you that one thing, what are you left with? Poor decision making. Poor decision making. That's what you're going to be left with. You're going to try to be making brand new plans in the moment, and you're really going to fuck yourself up. So if you don't have backup plans, okay, this is my A tier plan. If everything goes according to plan, this is how I'll execute. Okay, if it doesn't happen and this happens, how will I do this? Okay, if this happens and this doesn't happen, how will I do this? What will I react to? Am I going to buy this higher? Am I going to buy this lower? Am I going to do this? Am I going to pivot to a different coin? How am I going to rewatch a 2.5 hour stream? That's almost a third of my workday. Watch the stream on 2x speed, dude. I don't talk that fast. You'll be able to understand me on 2x speed. You'll cut the time in half. But yeah, I should head out. We've been going for 2.5 hours. More than enough. We'll come back next week and do some more. You have a list of potential coins you want to buy in spot? Not really, man. I haven't been focused on that, but now is pretty much the time. I think over the next few months, I've got to start locking in and figuring things out from a altcoin perspective. I've just been so dialed in on what I'm doing that nothing else has mattered to me, and I'm very happy that I'm doing it this way. I won't have any regrets. But now is probably the time for me to figure out some of those things and start developing some high level of conviction on certain assets not named Bitcoin. I have my Bitcoin plans dialed in, like A, B, C, D, E, F, G. I have every single Bitcoin plan dialed in. I'm prepared. But I don't have any plans on anything else. How do you combine VWAPs and other high time frame VWAPs? It's a lesson that I can teach, but I don't want to do it today because we've been going for 2.5 hours. I want to just wind down the stream. I got a meeting with Mag and Charlie. They're probably waiting on me, so I'll join Paragon. I'll answer it in there if you want. If you don't want, just wait till next week on Monday. Ask me the same question. I got you. All right. Thank you guys for joining me. I miss you guys. I miss the public stream. I'll be back next week on Monday. If you could do me a favor, if you enjoyed today's stream, if you could hit a like, if you could hit subscribe, if you aren't already subscribed, if you one day decide like fuck this doc guy, you can always unsubscribe. But yeah, let's get it next week, boys. You guys take care, and I will see you then.